stopping at second base, Fairchild, and Khalil Watson continues to pile them up for the Guardians in this series. That's his 6th RBI against Chicago.
That courtesy Guardians TV. Good guys hang on to win it. 4-3. Guardians avoid the 3-game sweep. Watson drove in 3 runs as he also had a 2-run single. Tanner Bobby got the start, gives up just 3 hits over 6 scoreless innings. Guardians back tied with the White Sox for first in the American League Central. Cavaliers used the 4th pick in the second round, 34th overall in the NBA draft on Arkansas guard Malik Thomas. He played in 37 games for the Razorbacks as a freshman, made 21 starts. He averaged nearly 16 points a game. Cavs plan to use the 6'3 Thomas as a point guard during the upcoming Vegas Summer League play, which starts July 9th. Ryan Grigson back with the Browns front office for a 3rd time. He's been named a senior football advisor. Mayor Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com reports Grigson back after having the same role in 2020 and 21. Grigson was a senior personnel executive with the Browns in 2017. The former Colts GM spent last season as assistant general manager with the Minnesota Vikings. Brook Park City Council approving this week legislation needed to try and create a public entity to own the new Browns Dome Stadium and also lease it back to the team. However, no specifics yet on who would cover the cost of maintenance and capital repairs. Final approval for creating the new community authority could come as soon as July 15th following a public hearing. Browns expect to open up the new Dome Stadium in time for the start of the 2029 campaign. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Summer's here, and Browns training camp is just around the corner. Stay locked in with The Fan all summer long. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
With the 34th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Malik Thomas from the University of Arkansas.
Yeah, so we were excited that he was available in the second round. Usually a guy of that caliber, scorer, that level of shot maker, his profile, you get a lot earlier. So the fact that we were able to move back and still select a player of his caliber and his shot making, one of the best shot makers in all college basketball, pretty excited about that. Just his competitiveness, he came in to work out for us. That's always meaningful to us. His tenacity, he was awesome when he came in.
Being very intense on defense, being 1 with 5 out there, making sure that I got my teammates back just like they got mine on defense, and then my offense game, in my opinion, kind of speak for itself. I'm going to shoot the skin off the ball. I really feel like it's going to be a hard time guarding me when it comes to defenders in the league.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Hello. Oh, it's been a morning already. Malik Thomas is your brand new Cleveland Cavalier. We'll talk about that here in a moment. He's not going anywhere. Well, he's coming to Cleveland, but he's not going anywhere else. Jason Lloyd is in for Anthony today.
We're screaming at each other at 5:45.
If you thought that you were going to get a very pro-Shador show, well,
why do you have to start that way?
Everybody.
Why?
Because I know it presses your buttons, because I know it bothers you.
Why are you
and I
the
live
way you
to
are?
bother you.
Why are you the way you are?
I bothered you about your headphones, and I'm going to bother you about Shador later on.
Got me screaming at you at 5:45
in the morning.
what made it
best. And I told Jason, you could ask anybody. I told Jason, I said, with my last breath,
That's not what you said.
Well, I said on my deathbed
and
with
Owen
my
said,
last breath, and then Owen abruptly jumped in and goes, "You won't get a deathbed.
It'll be quick.
It'll be quick. Don't tell him how. You can't do. I mean, you can once, but I wouldn't do it if I were you.
Go face first into pasta sauce.
There you go. That's a better. There you go. With my last breath, I will try to call Jason and tell him bleep you one more time. One last time before I go. But it was just carried over aggression. I got a problem, and I kind of got to ask everybody at the beginning of it. 216-474-0092. How do you keep raccoons out of your garbage? Because we have a raccoon problem.
Put it in the garage.
Well, I have to take the garbage out at some point. I keep the garbage cans in the garage, okay? But I have to take them out and put them by the curb at some point every week, obviously.
Yeah.
And I've put my sons in charge of the garbage. And they don't pack the garbage right. And it has become it started, the hostilities began, and it reached a boiling point today where I woke up. I went out. I did not, and I want to make this abundantly clear, I did not freak out, call people, wake up the house, anything. I made a call, but I made it very calmly because I thought it's at that time 4:50 in the morning. I tried to pick some of it up because I knew they put them damn garbage cans out there, and then they got the big black garbage bags, the industrial bags.
Yeah.
And I go, there's food in there. And them damn raccoons, it's been every week. They just think they're feeding them, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut, and we'll find out coming up tomorrow morning. I opened up that garage door this morning, and there it was in all its glory, right down there at the end of the garage. Paper plates and trash and food stuffs all over the end of the garage. And I went, well, when you're right, you're right. So champions pose on the family. And so I calmly, and I want to underline calmly, and I'm not a calm person. I'm very dramatic, very emotional. I calmly call my oldest son. He's 11.
At 4:45 in the morning.
At 4:50 in the morning.
Oh, you let him sleep in.
He answers the phone. Because, I was going to go, the weather's nice. Fine. And then it started like trying to sprinkle on my way up here. And I went, that's going to be bad. I'm going to save them the problem. I got to do it. It's tough. I got to call him. I call him. Now, Liz is redone like room by room. So we've had a lot of trash this summer. And she redid some things in the bedroom, and there happened to be the garbage bags in the bedroom. So I told him, she left them by the door. I go, they're by the door. Don't wake your mother up. You have to go get the trash bags. I'm sorry to have to. I said, I'm sorry. I have to do this to you. You have to go get your shoes on. You have to get the garbage bags. And you got to go put that garbage back in them garbage bags. I said, those raccoons will not be out there now. I said, you got to do it before the garbage truck comes and before it starts to rain. He says, okay, all right. And I thought, I'm going to call him back in 15 minutes just to make sure he got up and did it right. I call back in 15 minutes, and I'm in the parking garage now, and it is hell on earth back in my home. I mean, it was like Lieutenant Dan calling in the airstrikes, man. It was ridiculous. I got my other son in the background. He's yelling. My son, my oldest, woke the whole family up. Knocked on the door, woke Liz up. Oh. Liz starts texting me. She's like, he held the dog. I had to pick up the garbage. We're getting another garbage can. And I start texting back going, you are not getting another garbage can. I'm not putting 3 garbage cans in my garage. The entire neighborhood who also has 3 kids or 4 kids find ways to stuff it in 2 garbage cans. But you guys... Then I deleted, and I wrote, the boys can't find ways to make sure the garbage is actually compacted the way it is. So guess what? Then I deleted the guess what. So I will be in charge of the garbage from now on, and then I did leave the part as if I don't have enough to do every day. Oh. And obviously that went.
Martyr Ken.
That went into it, I know. I had to add it in there. And there was a back and forth, as there would be. Because I'm telling you right now, I know certain people, and if there's a garbage can that's been ordered, I will have it stopped. These boys are. I'll be in charge of the garbage until I get satisfaction. Because it's not that hard. It is a big family. We got 2 cans. Now there's plenty of Amazon orders to the door every day. UPS, all the other stuff. It's like take 1 box, break down the boxes, put the boxes in that box. Don't leave food, garbage outside the garbage can. It ain't that hard. And they do it. And I go, well, fine, you guys are going to learn the hard way. Because now the raccoons are on the schedule. So every week,
Thanksgiving at the Carmans.
Every week they know they're going to eat. And I keep telling them, and they won't listen. So here we are, and I'm looking for remedies other than sitting out there with a gun. I'm not going to read the mentions. I already know what you guys think. I'm not going to say, oh, geez, she might be listening. The phone's lighting up right now. It's a long one. Oh, boy.
You can take the foot out of your mouth and put it on top of the garbage
can. So all those texts that you deleted, you basically just sent.
Oh, this is just,
and I hope she uses the rewind feature on the Odyssey app. Brought to you by Integrated Restoration.
I hope she does.
Well, that's not long. I've gotten texts that take up the entire screen.
That's going to be fun. Anyway.
Why would you just ignore it till you get home? Why fight at 4:45 in the morning?
Because it has to be picked up because the weather was coming in.
Okay, fine, but why are you arguing over ordering other cans? Ignore those texts till you get home.
She's the type of person who will go right down to her office and order the next can. And I'm not putting 3. We've had this conversation before. There's not going to be 3 trash cans in my damn garage. It ain't going to happen.
We have 3.
That's ridiculous.
But no, one is garbage. We have one garbage. One's recycled.
Yes,
one's lawn.
One's lawn.
Yeah.
You put stuff in the lawn that sometimes it runneth over?
Well, no, like instead of like people have their own yard waste baskets, our garbage company, right? You have one
yard
too?
clippings. It's got a neon green lid.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. So we have 3.
And then you can also, sometimes we have our other ones that we had before they gave us that one. We also fill those up for yard waste.
Yeah.
What company are you?
Kimball.
Oh, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Oh, I should give him a call.
Get a yard waste can.
Well, okay. Well,
I
maybe.
don't understand
Then you'll have 3.
How big are your other cans? Because, well, I guess we have.
They're standard.
So you're saying you have a recycle and a regular?
Yeah, you got a big green one, and then you got a slightly smaller
Because I have way
recycle.
more people at my house, and we don't have
Exactly. You got 6 kids. How on earth do we need 3?
You know
We got
how many
3
raccoons I got?
0.
Yeah,
See?
I got none too.
Now, when I lived in Parma, we did have raccoons, and I had what I called a raccoon rock, and it went right on top of the garbage can, and it kept them from lifting the lids and getting in there because they got those little thumbs, man.
I should put a cinder block on top
But
of
how
it.
you can put a cinder block on it when they got to dump
That's
it?
true. The truck
can't.
Your problem.
They're
your
not going to
problem
get out
is
of the
that
truck and
street
remove the
level.
cinder
Hold
block.
on. Let me finish.
No.
You've been
That's
talking for 10 minutes.
Right?
what my sons are for. I imagine I will just have them
Put
take
Axel right on top of that garbage can.
I'll take Axel. It's either that or Axel gets a chair and sits there with the gun the whole night.
Garbage can.
And I'm a much better shot than he is.
If you have the same company we do you have the biggest can?
Did you call him a garbage cuck? Yeah, he's just going to sit there and watch the raccoons eat the garbage.
He's got the lawn chair over there on the side.
I'm sorry.
Benny and Rocco are having at it, man.
All right. Do you have a solution before I take the calls?
Do you have the largest size can? Because they have different size cans. Are you sure you got the biggest one?
I got the standard big can that everybody has in the neighborhood.
Yeah, we only have one.
And we do throw a lot.
You think the Carmans are not going to have the biggest garbage can in the neighborhood?
We throw a lot out. We do throw a lot out. We do not believe in waste and clutter or anything like that. Like it is very, with the way I was raised and the way she was raised, like mine is different. Her dad is a complete, like, do not keep any clutter, nothing. Of course, my mom, she was known to keep a thing or two for a little bit too long, and that kind of had an effect on me. So we do throw a lot out.
We got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Brody and Kent, you're first up on the fan. Give me a solution for the raccoons.
Good morning, gentlemen. As you guys were talking, I drove by somebody's house and looked like raccoons tore it up. Listen, a good friend of mine works for a garbage company. Get ammonia and pour it on the bag.
Ammonia?
Okay? If ammonia. Oh, and if you have a can, pour a little bit on the side of the can. Done deal. What I do real quick, I have 2 or 3 bags. I put the bags there, put ammonia on it, and I want to sit back and laugh. Go ahead, fellas. You're going to see there's no can there. You're going to hey, fellas, and then they're no problem.
Let me ask you this. I can't get in trouble for poisoning the raccoons, can I? Or will they would just keep them away?
I never asked that question, Ken. I never did my buddy, but I mean...
yeah.
So are you saying the ammonia
Smokey the Bear going to come arrest you for pouring
ammonia? They will get close enough and smell that, and they will take off and hit another neighbor's house. And just, guys, by the way, Ken's a great coach with the little Pee Wee football.
Told you.
No, he's not. He got his ass kicked. I beat his ass down in the horseshoe.
You have a bigger
put it on that
program.
Streetsboro
You
team.
have a bigger program. And Brody, thank you. I'm sad that Owen had to kick you off. You're a good coach too.
It was great content until you got to the Ken's a great coach.
I am a great
I've
coach.
seen him give up too many points. Air raid offense couldn't stop it.
You have a big program, okay? And I understand that that's no excuse for Tiger Laverty's Kirtland Hornets, but I still stand by that, okay? Tom and Elyria, hello.
That's right, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
All right, this is the deal. I was walking out to the car, so I didn't hear the entirety of the show so far. But number one is you want to wait to the absolute last moment to take your garbage out. That's step one. Mm-hmm. Step number two is make sure all of your garbage, the actual garbage that they're going to go after, is bagged, every bit of it.
Oh yeah.
Number three is like that other gentleman said. You could put some type of some like ammonia or something that has a very strong smell around the top of it. It's not going to poison them. Like you're talking about poisoning something because of course they're I don't know if they're technically rodents, but most animals like that live off their nose. So once they go to your can and they smell something strong like that, they're going to go to the neighbors. The fourth thing you can do is you can actually put a brick. It doesn't have to be just past the center towards the back, and that will be enough to keep them from being able to open up the lid. And then what will happen is when the truck comes by with the claw, it'll just knock the brick off. And those guys know what's going on, too.
All right.
The problem is, or you can do what we do is trap them and then, bring them for execution of sentence at another place. But you guys have a good morning.
All right, Tom, thank you very much for the call. I can't be talking about conspiracy to commit murder against raccoons on the radio. Somebody is going to get upset about that. So I don't plan on killing the raccoons. I got my Target app open, though, so I think I'm going to order some ammonia right now. $159 is a good price, so I'm going to put that in there. And it's shipping. I got to no, never mind. All right. Ammonia.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, the rock, you just have to walk down.
I'll look it up.
You just have to walk down and get the rock off in the morning, I guess, when you.
That's what my son is for. Because eventually, I just got to get him off the schedule.
Once day breaks, anyway.
I just got to get him off the schedule. That's all. Sometimes they come out when it's dark after heavy rain. Sometimes. I've seen one on my back porch once. All right. Well, I feel better now. I mean, I'm not going to feel better once I open up my phone and actually read the text message I got from my wife, but other than that.
She listening?
I hope. Hopefully she'll have some fun with it. I don't think it's going to be very fun for her.
Hi, Liz. Don't go easy on him.
Come on.
Hammer him.
Oh, well.
Or call the hotline and let's have this out on the air.
Be fine. I'll stand down. I'm not. Wait. There's not going to be very much bluster. I don't bluster in the home. I only bluster here. All right. What do I know about Malik Thomas? What am I supposed to know about him? Anything at all? Is this just a 34th overall pick and we move on?
Yeah. I mean,
honestly, I'm being serious. I listen. I watched some college basketball. I think college basketball made a great comeback this last year. I think Fantas has something to do with that in our region, to be honest with you. But I do not know much about Malik Thomas other than he played for Arkansas, and that's just about it. So if there's any information on Malik Thomas, please. What a hell of a start we have here. I'm getting everything there is to know about Raccoons, but I don't know nothing about the guy that the Cavs just drafted. So there we go.
He's a good shooter, combo guard. It's an upside play. He's not somebody who's going to see a ton of minutes.
Okay, because some people brought the problem up, like with the guy that was drafted yesterday or 2 days ago that ended up being they switched off the rights. Lyman and I talked. I had heard of that guy, obviously, but one of the problems was like, why are you trading away a first-round pick? He's young. It's like, well, he's a first-round pick. He's guaranteed money. They don't want that money on the books. They're going to trade away that choice because they have their team as it is right now, or they're trying to move players from their team. This would just add a problem. So they're going to move him, try to get a pick back in return at some other point here. Is there any other moves for a future second-round pick or anything like that I've seen other than the 2032 one? Because that ain't going to be that's nothing that's anytime soon. I was just wondering for a couple of different machinations that
Kobe even said last night that they could probably plan to use that pick as some sort of sweetener for maybe a deadline type of trade.
They are
like that.
all right. They are pick deficient.
Yeah.
So they need as many. They need to come up with as many trade assets or assets as they can.
Like we are with the second apron, and I do think that some of us, we've been doing second apron guys, I will admit, it does get a little bit dry.
Sure.
We've been doing second apron conversations for a while, and I think some folks just think it's the old NBA, where it's like the soft cap. You can basically sign whoever you want as long as you're willing to go into the luxury tax, which Dan Gilbert was more than willing to. Joe Lacob was willing to for a little bit. Like Mickey Arison was never willing to, and that's what obviously broke things up in 2014. Maybe a little bit, but he wasn't willing to do it for very long. And we were able to profit from that here in Cleveland. But I look at it and go, guys, we got to get out of the old days. Like, it's not a cheapness move. It's a move to be able to make more moves to help out the team now, going into 2026, 27.
And the move out of the first round, they did something different reasons, but similar reasons when LeBron came back in 2014. In 2015, they were up against the tax, and they traded Tyus Jones to Minnesota. They moved out of the first round, did exactly this. Moved in the second round. They got rights to Jetty Osman. They left him overseas for a couple years, and then they brought him over. So kind of similar where you're at the bottom of the first round. You're trying to get off guaranteed money. You're up against it with the tax. And they got Rakeem Christmas, who you've probably never heard of, and a big out of Syracuse.
Wait, yeah. His last name's Christmas. He wore number 25.
He didn't do a whole lot here. But
yeah,
that was the
You think
year.
I didn't know who Rakeem Christmas was?
Yes.
His last name's Christmas. He plays for Syracuse. I watched Syracuse.
He did play at Syracuse.
Yeah,
right.
That was Boeheim era Syracuse.
All right,
yeah, I watched Syracuse.
Smarter than I gave you credit for.
Thank you. Yeah. Kiss my ass. I'm a ball knower.
Anyway, that was a similar.
Like he's David Easter.
Yeah.
That was a similar
Jonathan
type of
4th of
move.
July.
This is different because they're up against the second apron. I think they will get out of the second apron, but every dollar counts with where they're at right now. So he's an upside play. He's not. He'll play in Vegas. He'll play point in Vegas.
So 9 o'clock coming up today. Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated senior writer, he mentioned that the Celtics would be interested in Evan Mobley for Jaylen Brown, and I said no, and I stand by that. And it has very little to do with an allegiance to him. I want to explain that to you in 5 minutes on The Fan.
92.3 The Fan.
Watch The Fan live on YouTube. Catch The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima from 6 till 10 a.m. Baskin and Phelps 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin from 2 to 7 p.m. Each and every weekday. It's free. Subscribe to 92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
Chris Mannix, NBC Boston from Sports Illustrated. Now, this is some audio we played for you on yesterday. Jason Lloyd in with us from The Athletic, 92.3 The Fan, the whole deal. You want to listen to this Chris Mannix thing because this started not even an argument with Tone and I can't. Like, guys, I got to be willing to make the team better. And if I'm going to be willing to make the team better, I can't just trade away guys that I think are expendable. I have to be willing to make a move from the big piece. But let me tell you why I have hesitancy to make the type of move that Chris Mannix talks about here.
Jaylen Brown is truly available and what the asking price for him is going to be. But the Celtics, I believe, are listening to those calls and are, thinking up their own trade matches of their own. I spent some time this afternoon talking to different teams about what might the Celtics be interested in. And the name and the team that came back to me a lot was Evan Mobley in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mobley's one of those guys that could fit the archetype of the type of player that the Celtics are looking for. Now, if it is a deal they're interested in, is a complicated deal to make because the Cleveland Cavaliers are a second apron team and there are a whole bunch of different rules that go with being a second apron team, including the need to match dollar for dollar value with the player that goes out. That's just mathematically impossible, it seems like, in this moment. But that's the name trending.
So you'd have to make some other things work out. And I asked Lima about it, and the clip went on 92.3 The Fan's Twitter account where he was like, bye, Evan, like he was waving to the cameras and all that other stuff. I'm hesitant to do so. And let me tell you why. I can't just be sitting here being afraid to make every move. I am trying to think about this rationally because in my estimation, and maybe Jason, you disagree with me, I do believe that fit, now with this second apron, now with this hard cap, fit matters more than it has through my entire adult life of watching the NBA. And I do believe that fit matters more, and I don't think that we recognize this. I think that there's people who, like I was getting some very interesting trade. I'm like, this is a good player, that's a good player. Like people on Twitter, there were some people on social media who were getting it and some people who weren't. And Jaylen Brown is a household name. Jaylen Brown is a very, very, very good player. My issue with it is, though, if I were to let go of Evan Mobley for Jaylen Brown, you'd have to let go and make some moves add some money to it, and that might mean another player. But basically, when you're talking about your starting five, you were talking about probably Dean Wade. Okay, you got to have somebody out there playing defense. Then you have James Harden, then you have Donovan Mitchell, then you have Jaylen Brown, then you have Jared Allen. And I basically took it as, and I know he's 6'6", and he's a combo, but you basically have three guards out there in Jared Allen. And I still don't know if that's going to be enough. I still don't believe that's enough to get you over the hump, to get you an NBA championship. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. Like this, I think that, and it wasn't met with any positivity at all, I think that their messaging last year went from let's go to the NBA Finals to, with the way the season started at 17 and 16, hey, let's get a little bit further, let's make a move here, and then maybe over the summer they'll gel and maybe they'll be a little bit better. Let's see where we are on things. And they did make it further, all right? Now, I'm not trying to conflate it over here, Jason, but I'm hesitant to move on from Evan, not because I'm holding on to some huge thing of the future, even though I think he can blossom into a very good player, but we're 5 years into this thing. The timelines don't add up. They never added up. That came out of your mouth when it comes to Donovan Mitchell's timeline and Evan Mobley's timeline. Jaylen Brown obviously makes it add up. But I'm hesitant because I just don't know if that's going to be a good enough fit for it to get over the hump, to not just beat the Knicks, but to beat San Antonio or Oklahoma City.
It gets them closer.
It does, but is it worth it?
Listen, I've been one of the biggest Evan Mobley defenders in town. I would do the deal.
Tell me why. I'm not gonna, like, this is so different because there's been some trades that have been thrown out there that I go, you're stupid, you have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. And I'm not doing that with you, and I haven't really done that with Lima either.
I've dismissed 99 of the 100 trade scenarios of Evan because I think in town, I think Evan is undervalued. I don't think fans appreciate how good he is. But ultimately,
part of that's our fault. Part of that's my fault.
Well, ultimately, I understand the Knicks just won a championship with Jalen Brunson. I get it. The last 25, 30 years of NBA history will tell you you've got to win with big wings. The wing is the most important position in the NBA, and that's where the Cavs have been the weakest since LeBron left. So Jalen gives them a legitimate chance at that. And I wrote after they lost last year that their best path at winning a championship is if Evan Mobley becomes the best player on the team. Donovan Mitchell is not going to get him to a championship. He's a wonderful player. I'm not sure he's a number one on a championship team. And then we just saw that play out again this year. There's always something with Donovan in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He wears down injury. There's always something. So Jalen, and I will admit, I don't know that the fit between Harden, Don, and Jalen is ideal, but I think it gets you closer to where you're trying to go because Jalen is that type of wing that they wanted Evan to become.
So he's at 6'6" still. He's making up for and then some of what you lose with Evan Mobley.
I mean,
I'm trusting you on
He's going to give you something different. He's not as good defensively. I mean, Evan's elite defensively.
Well, obviously.
And so you're going to lose a little something there.
Well, that's why I said you got to have somebody play defense. That's what Dean Wade's for.
And Dean would probably be the starting four in that. And that's a step. Obviously, that's a huge step back to go from Mobley to Dean Wade at the four. But Dean does a lot of things again that go underappreciated, undervalued here. He's obviously not a great scorer. But I would, of all of the deals that we've heard, and again, I've defended Evan more than anybody, but of all the deals that have been thrown out there, this one has my attention more than any of the honest thing never made sense to me because of the contract situation, and he didn't want to be here. I'm not sure Jaylen Brown would be sprinting to get to Cleveland, but he's got 3 years of control. That's a lifetime in the NBA.
His friend would be on the team with him, though. He is friends with Donovan Mitchell.
He and Don are tight. And the Donovan contract thing absolutely weighs into this and plays into this. I've been consistent. What does Donovan want? That's what's probably going to happen because you're trying to lock up Donovan long.
Well, that's all, and also because this is where it really starts to make a lot of sense to me. I think that I think people have seen Jaylen Brown on the internet here over the last couple of days and like, oh God, there's a malcontent right there. No, I think Jaylen Brown's been his own guy.
I think I really like Jaylen Brown.
See, I do too, and I've always kind of made the joke, but it is true. I was fine with Jaylen Brown, and then I really like Jaylen Brown after the comments about the royal family, or lack thereof, I should say. So I'm like, hey, he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
I think that he's thoughtful when he speaks his mind. I don't think that there's anything immature or bitter or anything like that. I think honestly he's a well-rounded person that he's decided to speak his mind when he does, and I listen to him.
And when he really talks,
yes.
It's well thought out, it's well researched.
And so I don't think you have to worry. Like there's times where, and you brought this up, like Kyrie would say some things, and this is before all the other stuff, but when he was here and
the flat earth stuff,
you'd start to look around going, what the hell's going on here? And Jaylen Brown just doesn't do that. So I don't think that you're inviting problems into your locker room if you go out and get Jaylen Brown. I really don't.
No.
And I also think that I agree with you. I don't think that Jaylen Brown sees Cleveland as a destination, but I think Donovan could help that. And so I need to put that leadership on Donovan or test that leadership on Donovan going, all right, like, if he doesn't like it, he's going to tell you he doesn't like it. And he's going to tell you he doesn't like being here if he doesn't like it. That's true. And to a level, I can respect that, even though it makes a problem for us if he comes here and later on down the line he does that. But for Donovan, I have to be able to sell him on the city. You claim you love the city so much. You claim you love the area so much. And I believe you. Can you get somebody else who you're very good friends with to do it? Like, I have to be open-minded to this because I can't just sit here. I know that there's moves that need to be made, but I also am not just going to sit here and say, no. You got to give up something to get something.
Right.
You can't just give up your garbage for the Raccoons to pick through to bring back last segment. You can't just give up your garbage for somebody else's great player. Like, you have to give up something that's going to be worth it. Evan's worth it.
I would just point out, for as much slander as Evan Mobley has taken over the last however many years where people just don't think he's that very good, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics have both expressed now great interest in Evan Mobley. What does that tell you? Those are two of the best front offices in the NBA.
Yeah.
And both of them are saying, yeah, we want that guy.
And I think that's part of the reason.
He's a really good player.
But I also think that's part of the reason why I'm hesitant. And I'll tell you why coming up here in a moment. 216-474-0092. All right, you've heard this for now 24 hours. Would you make the move with Evan Mobley for Jaylen Brown? Also at 7 o'clock, LeBron could come back, and you won't believe who he could be bringing with him. Talk about a blast from the past. But I do want to know, Evan Mobley for Jaylen Brown. I know it's not straight up, but let's just go off that premise. Would you be willing to do something like this? Do you have to make a deal? Ken Carman, Jason Lloyd in for Tone on the Fan.
psecreditunion.org. That's psecreditunion.org. An equal housing lender.
On the road this summer? Get the most live sports talk in Ohio on 92.3 The Fan. Or binge our podcast on the Odyssey app.
I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth. I got to be willing to make a move. I also know I think I can kick the can down the road until the trade deadline. But I think that's kind of I sound
what? Why?
I sound weak. I sound afraid. I can't kick the can down the road to the trade deadline.
You're going to make the type of move we're talking about. You can't do that at the trade deadline.
Because no, not that trade. Okay, one, it's I don't know if it's going to mean enough to get Jaylen Brown. That's my problem. The other part of it is that I do think that part of and you would know better, okay? So part of this, I'm saying this theory, but I'm kind of running it by you, that Rich Paul goes public with it, but you probably knew beforehand that this was going to be Darius's last season. No matter what, you had to make a move.
And they've been trying to get Darius out of Cleveland for multiple years.
Rich Paul's been trying to get Darius out of Cleveland for multiple years.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, that's the they part, right? So this is my thing. I've been defensive of the James Harden move because we knew that they had to get the clutch was trying to get Darius out of Cleveland. The Cavs were going to have to get Darius out of Cleveland. It was just going to happen over the last couple of years. So knowing that and knowing that he's often injured, he's an undersized guard, and what we really want is a wing, you aren't going to get any of that for Darius Garland for all the reasons I just gave you. So when they made the move for James Harden, it's unpopular because of what James Harden is known for.
It was a distressed asset traded for a distressed asset.
Yes. And my first thought was, all right, I'm fine with this move, but I can't expect terribly much more. And then they went out and they played extremely well, and I shot my mouth off and said that I was going to pencil them in for the finals. And I tried to use pencil instead of pen, and that just ended up being embarrassing. So now I'm trying to think of it this way. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They lose that game the way they did in the first game, and then they basically just call it a season after that. So then you get to the summer, and I've been thinking that whole time, all right, you get to the summer, you get an entire offseason, you see what's happened with a lot of these teams, you take a year to gel, maybe they can go a little bit further. It's probably not going to go that way. And now, because of what I said before, I know that I can't just sit here and be Stan Pat. And I ran the poll, and overwhelmingly fans want to make a move, but I don't want to make a move just to make a move. Because
Correct.
I'm getting a lot of that. I had a guy get social media reactions brought to you by
Shiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
I have multiple people saying they don't find the Cavs entertaining, they don't find the Cavs interesting, and they're not going to watch the Cavs if they don't make a move. And I go, they won 52 games last year. This is nuts. They won 64 the year before.
Yeah.
All right? If we're talking about teams that have not got your eyeballs here, there's another team in town. This is not one of them, okay? And that's what bothers me because I'm going, guys, we can't just make moves to make moves over here. We're very close, and I know that the clock is ticking. And I think the James Harden made the analogy. I think the James Harden move, Jason Lloyd in for Lyman, by the way. I think the James Harden move sped the clock up.
Absolutely.
Like when you were, and we all know that. Like if you see a movie where they're trying to defuse a bomb and they cut the wrong wire,
Right.
and then the clock speeds up. Like
Right.
That's what the James Harden move did. And Evan, I'm not just trying to hold on to him because of this grand future. I know wholeheartedly that this is going to go bust, and that eventually we're going to be in 19-win land again and trying to get picks and trying to do this whole thing over again. And I've never gone from that reality, but I want to make the right move. And Jaylen Brown's great. You have to be able to tell me that the combo is going to be enough, because at the base of it, it's not that Jaylen Brown isn't an exceptional player. I love Jaylen Brown. But it's that, does it just turn into three guards and Jarrett Allen? Because Jarrett Allen, you said that the fans feel that Evan Mobley's overrated. I think part of that, I blamed it on ourselves because I think that I've built him up to be the next big thing, to be a 1%er. He's not. He's an elite defender. He's a great player, but he's not a 1%er. But then you also have the fact coming in of, all right, he's overrated to the fan base. Jarrett Allen's actually underrated to the fan base. And you look at his contract going, oh, my God, he's worth so much more money than he gets paid. And I think that could be a really good team, but I think it's probably just an Eastern Conference Finals team again, Jason.
It's a year ago at this time when the Knicks lost in the conference finals. Did you think that they were a team that could win a championship?
When they lost to the Knicks.
When the Knicks lost last year in the conference finals.
No. I did not think they were a team that could win a championship.
And I would agree with that. I would not. I mean, I would have picked the Cavs all season long. I would have picked the Cavs to beat the Knicks in a playoff series. So
I was concerned about the Celtics, and then you can ask Anthony. I was concerned about the 76ers with Joel Embiid coming back, but I should have known he wasn't going to be healthy.
Yeah. So it's hard in the moment to say they're not there yet. I do think that they're close, but if you don't think Evan is get a piece that can lead a team to a championship, who else is out there that you would move him for if it's not Jaylen Brown? That's realistic.
I don't know.
There's no other deal.
There is none.
Because the Giannis thing never made sense to me because of the contract situation.
Mm-hmm.
This does make sense because Jaylen's under contract for 3 years. If it's not now, then when? And if your answer is if you say no to this, then your answer is basically I'm not willing to trade Evan Mobley in a realistic scenario because there's no other player out there that I think aligns with both teams' needs.
I would agree.
Like this one does.
I would agree. And I listened to Nick talk about it 2 days ago where he said he'd move Donovan Mitchell for Jaylen Brown.
Well, sure.
I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to hold on to Evan Mobley. What Nick's trying to do is have his cake and eat it too.
Well, the reason why you would trade Donovan Mitchell for Jaylen Brown is the same reason why the Celtics won't.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not even trying to bag on Nick. I think what Nick's doing is it's noble, but it's just not realistic.
No.
You're not going to be able to move Donovan for Jaylen.
No.
The Celtics say no to that. The Celtics may say yes to Evan Mobley, but I have to go in knowing that, okay, it's basically this year and that's it. This has to be the year. How many more years do I get? Do I actually extend this? Because I think as you sit right now, it's probably this year and that's it. How many more years do I extend it?
I mean, I think you have two. You have 2 years.
Regardless?
Yeah, because
I do?
Jaylen's got – so Donovan has 1 year left on his deal. This is going to become a thing. He's not – I don't think he's – I would be surprised if he signs this summer because of the amount of money he would leave on the table.
But we're going to start having the same conversations
But
again.
you have to operate in good faith that he's going to re-sign until you have reason otherwise. So
Carlos Boozer's the only one who proved us wrong. So that's pretty good.
I mean, things can go south in a year, but let's just operate under good faith that
there's been one guy in
sign
history that's really put the screws to us. I think those odds are okay.
But I think you get 2 years out of this, and then you're going to have conversations about if Jaylen doesn't want to be here or not. Then you got to have that conversation. But you get 2 years.
So
out of
are you saying to me it's 2 years regardless?
No, it's more than 2 if you don't make the trade. Well,
that's what I'm asking.
I mean,
because Donovan you could not make a trade, and Donovan could still not sign. And I think that conversation is going to heat up, especially with what I've been hearing some weird things from people I know, and I will acquiesce to you. Okay, you covered the NBA a long time. You know everybody. All right, I'm not starting an argument here. I know I lose that argument, but I have heard over the last couple of days to keep an eye on Miami and watch what they do with their contracts. Because another player that Donovan really loves is Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
And that if they don't move a lot of contracts around, or I should say start signing people to big long-term contracts, then all of a sudden that's a destination if Donovan doesn't sign this summer, which a lot of things would tell you he wouldn't. But I got to keep that in the back of my mind. So now we're having some of the same conversations we did 2 years ago with Donovan. And if you lose games this year, like if you start off 17-16 again, there's going to be plenty of people lining up to say,
it's going to be a thing.
Gone.
It's going to be a thing. For sure, it's going to be a thing. But again, like as we sit here in June, the reason why he wouldn't sign this summer makes perfect sense. So I'll put it this way. When he first came here, there was a lot of chatter about he wanted to be in New York. He wanted to go to New York. He's going to go to New York. The Knicks basically chose OG Anunoby over Donovan because they traded all their trade assets to get Anunoby. So the Knicks are the ones that shut that down. There has been no chatter at all, very, very little, about Donovan wanting out of Cleveland ever since he signed the extension from across the league, for whatever that's worth. So I do believe him because I do believe that he wants to win. I think that he feels like this is probably the best place for him in order to win. Now, that is after the Harden deal. Like I think Donovan's side got this to a point where they felt like something had to change, and it did. They made the Darius move, and they brought Harden in. So again, like there's two sides of this. You can't operate your entire franchise around somebody who's not invested long term when you only got 1 year control, but at the same time, you don't want to go against their wishes and drive them out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Coming up, I want to get back to that here in a second. But coming up at 8 o'clock, it won't make me happy, but it might be the best thing for Shedeur Sanders. Coming up in 5 minutes, LeBron could come back. And he could be bringing back someone very special with him. I'll tell you who in 5 on The Fan. Peter & Company Jewelers in Avon Lake. I'll tell you right.
news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Your day isn't complete unless you know how Cleveland fits into the national sports scene. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Mary Kay, 820. Chris Mannix, senior writer, Sports Illustrated, coming up at 9 o'clock. Also, all right, I'm not going to make a big thing about it, not going to make a big, long thing about it. I got to hear your thoughts on Sorsby coming up in 20 minutes, okay? Not now.
Deal.
Not now. Lima loves to do that. He doesn't like to listen to me, and then he blows the segment. And I'm like, well, all right, you figure it out then. And then we get in big blow-ups, and I just hand him over the show,
I'll
man.
say one little thing now.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
One little thing.
One.
Usually,
Jason Lloyd in for Tone today.
Usually, Lima and I see almost everything the same way.
That's why you guys are horrible people.
We are on vastly different sides of the Sorsby thing.
Really?
Yes.
Damn.
Vastly different.
Okay. See, that's the thing about Jason. People don't know. I have a very strong feeling for Jason. I hate him. All right, coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. All right, I'm joking. So I brought up LeBron 5 minutes ago, right? I want to get to the phone calls here in just a second, and we will, because there's a lot of trade machinations going on with the Cavs. I understand a trade has to happen. I can't sit there and be scared of everything. Maybe you've warmed me up more because I have a more adversarial on-air relationship with Anthony than I do you. You've warmed me up more.
How is that possible?
Because you had a little bit of a better bedside manner than him.
How's that possible?
You just have today. You've been very quiet, very nice.
Because I got it all out at 5:45.
You helped me with the Raccoon situation. So honestly, I'm a little bit more open-minded to what you've brought up when it comes to the Jaylen Brown trade, because to me, I just want to know it's going to get us over the hump. It's not about holding on to this unicorn. It's not about 5 years from now still being a relevant, great basketball team. It's not about that. It's about, if you make the trade, am I going to get to the NBA Finals? And I still don't know if I'm going to get to the NBA Finals. But I know I'm not going to get to the NBA Finals as I am right now. Like, there's no trade out there that they can make that's going to guarantee that. And there is a good feeling move that can be had. Because I think if you ask anybody, some people have said 5%, some people have said no percent, some people have said it's either the Lakers or the Warriors, and that's it, and that's all. However, Fox Sports Radio, The Odd Couple, Rob Parker's one of the hosts of that show. They have a man on who covers basketball, Brandon Scoop B. Robinson, and this is what he had to say. Now, I want you to hear this, because he's not just mentioning LeBron coming back. Wait until you hear the name that he says could be coming back with LeBron. At least that's what I hope that John loaded in. Hit it.
The Lakers can offer him the most money. However, they do not want to. If you look at an alternate team, the conversations that I've been having about the Cleveland Cavaliers is something that is realistic. In order for that to happen, there are some mathematics that have to make sense from sources around the league. First of all, James Harden is going to have to restructure that deal. And I'm told that LeBron James doesn't necessarily want to sign a max extension with the Cavaliers. In fact, he would take less money to come back home. But in order for that to also happen, the Cavaliers are hoping that he takes some type of mid-level exception, one, and two, that he completes a sign and trade with the Los Angeles Lakers in order to make that happen. So you would have to move a Jared Allen or others. However, in order to add more to that pot, Dean Wade or Max Strus would have to potentially be moved as well. So those are some of the things that I'm hearing as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers. They currently have a vacant GM position. And Brandon Weems, who is currently the assistant GM, is a guy who grew up with LeBron James in Akron. He is a guy that is one of the candidates in that conversation. They're talking about staying internal. However, one thing that I am hearing is that the Cavaliers are entertaining a conversation of potentially talking to David Griffin about that GM position as well.
Would David Griffin come back with LeBron to be with the Cavaliers?
Griff was around.
That'd be amazing.
Griff was around this year. He was just.
But as the general manager.
Well, I mean, Kobe's in charge.
Oh, for the love of God, Jason,
what?
give me see, this is why.
But what?
I mean, good God. I'm talking about David Griffin being a general manager here with the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? The guy that orchestrated the 2016 championship over here. That's what I'm talking about, all right?
I get what you're
because
saying.
Because then if he comes here, of course, there's going to be a power dynamic with the fans between him and Kobe Altman. And I'm not just trying to root for stories here, but David Griffin is a guy who gives me a warm feeling when I think of him because he was part of a championship, just like LeBron does. For the love of God.
What? What?
Nothing.
You think
Go
LeBron?
ahead.
You think LeBron's going to base his
no, absolutely
on who
not.
the GM
but
is?
It's an added.
He came back here for David Blatt.
It's an added sweet. Well, you knew and I knew he wasn't going to be around for very much longer.
But
after
I'm
that
saying
happened.
he doesn't
and that
care
made
who the
you
coach
very
is.
happy
He's
because
not
you
gonna-
hated David Blatt.
I did not hate David Blatt.
Okay, whatever.
He was unbelievably arrogant and unbelievably unqualified for his role.
Because that's what
and
you
that's
say
a
about
bad
people
combination.
you like. That's what you say about people you like, is you call them arrogant and unqualified. Yeah, real warm feelings you have. You guys are buddies.
That's the tagline of this show.
Yeah, exactly. Arrogant and underqualified. That should be the name of the show.
No, all I'm saying is he's not going to make his decision based on front office and who's in the front office. That's all.
I understand that. It's not about bringing David. It's not like bringing David. See,
You're the one who said LeBron's coming. He's bringing David Griffin with him.
Because it's fun if David Griffin comes back. Be serious here. It's fun if David Griffin comes back. That's part of it. But no one's saying he's going to base his decision off David Griffin coming back.
That's how I interpreted what you were trying to say.
Actually, I would say if you wanted to base it off the decision of who's the general manager, I would say there's a better chance of Brandon Weems, if your general manager is, that LeBron comes back, obviously. Now you're shaking your head there. You're drinking your coffee and shaking your head. You don't think it might not. It probably doesn't matter who the general manager is.
It does not matter.
But if I was going to go with that theory, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that I would go with Weems because of that instead of Griffin.
I can't believe that we're 8 years removed now from, it's been 8 years since LeBron was here.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's wild.
It's a long time. He's still good. All Cavs Conversations brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside Hard Iced Tea, who ask you to please enjoy that Surfside Hard Iced Tea responsibly. Go ahead.
And, I mean, if you want to talk about, LeBron and Griff had a good relationship. They had a very good relationship. And Kobe was thrust into a really difficult spot when Griff left. And, it's more than fair to say there was a little bit of tension there at the time. But, it was a long time ago. And I think Kobe's grown in the role. He's done a nice job the last however many years in rebuilding this thing. So I don't think that has any bearing whatsoever on what LeBron would do. But it's a good story. Yeah, it's a good story.
Well, that's what I mean. Back. It's a great story. And I personally enjoyed him. And
Kobe and Griff are very close. Griff was the officiant in Kobe's wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're still married.
Yeah.
He's a better track record than me. All mine get divorced. That's why I stopped doing it. Coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. I'm dead serious about that, Jason. It's really bad. I got a real bad track record. It's not about David Griffin. I just thought it was fun to add his name into there. I like that Scoop B added that name into there. What obviously is the big conversation is LeBron. Now, Lima asked me about this yesterday, and I told him it's getting harder and harder for me to see it, because I think that he still did some incredible things physically. And I think coming back here is an admission to himself that it's a retirement tour. And I don't know if he's ready to do that yet. Now you got the son, Bryce, who's going to Arizona. It's easier to go from L.A. or Golden State to Arizona. But it's also a thought of, all right, is this the end of my career? Am I really ready to end it? Because I wonder if he's going to keep this train going until that's the abs. And you know better than me. I'm asking you a question. Is he a guy who can keep this train going until an injury were to take him out and that's what ends his career? Or is he a guy who actually will say, this is it, I'm taking my retirement tour? Because I thought it would be that way, but some of the stuff he did just this last year and the coast-to-coast stuff and still how he still had physical burst at times at 41 years old, I'm like, man, if you've been on top of a very popular athletic league with the best athletes in the world for 20 years, it's hard to just walk away from that. It's not like to admit you're walking away from it.
It's not like I've been around. I have barely been around him for the last 8 years, so I don't want to pretend like I have the relationship with him that I did 10 years ago, because I don't. But the one thing that we talked about often when he was here was he told me multiple times, I will never embarrass this game. I am not going to be a guy who sticks around too long. This game has been too good to me. I'm not going to hang around longer than I should. So for whatever that's worth. And I mean, he said a lot of things 8, 9, 10 years ago that he probably would change his mind on now.
But it's not like he's a back end of the...
No, he's still, he's not what he was, but he's still pretty good.
But he's still one of the best players on the floor in any basketball game he plays in. And it's not just his aura. He still does things that are at an incredible rate. And I don't get a chance to watch them very much because they don't start until 10:30 at night out there. But I wake up at 3:20 and I watch these YouTube compilations,
yeah.
and I read the reports, and I read The Athletic, and I really do. I'm not just saying it because you're from The Athletic. I read The Athletic. I'm going, this guy still has it. Not what he had when he was here in Cleveland. Obviously, Father Time is starting to creep up, but he still has something there that's really, really special. And I'm going, if it were me, every man has an ego. I have an ego, certainly. He has a bigger one, I'd imagine. It's hard for me to walk away from that if I were still doing it at that level, to that degree, to just kind of admit, because I think that coming back to Cleveland is an admission that this is the end of the career. Not that he's not good anymore, but that he's calling it quits where he still has something left in the tank. Like, you can win a championship if you come back to Cleveland. That's not like he's not going around just on some retirement tour with a terrible basketball team.
Right.
But I think he thinks it might be, and I'm wondering, is it hard? It's harder to walk away from a contending, really good basketball team while you're still doing something special.
Yeah, but I don't think he feels like he has anything left to prove. Like, he's good.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
So I think it would be okay. I think he will be okay to walk away when he's ready.
216-474-0092. I'm going to get to Maurice in the Bay Area and a couple other people coming up here in a moment. Is it enough? Is it enough for you if just LeBron came back?
Enough for me?
Yeah.
To win a title?
No. Is it just enough for you? Do you think that satisfies the fan base enough if just LeBron came back this summer?
I think it'd be a wonderful story. I would love to see it.
But you don't think it makes it a title contender?
It depends on like, again, you're having the Jaylen Brown conversation, you're having the LeBron conversation. Are both of those things happening? Or one of those things happening? It's hard to have one conversation when the other one is floated in the ether. I mean, LeBron, for as great as he still is, he is a swinging gate defensively.
I want to ask these people that question when we come back. Also, you say you feel differently with Lima than I do on Sorsby. We'll get to that coming up. And I'm about to reach a milestone birthday. And Facebook knows it. Ken Carman, Jason Lloyd, it's arrogant and underqualified in the morning on The Fan. Northeast Factory Direct at northeastfactorydirect.com. Save.
right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Mary Kay Cabot, 8:20 this morning. Is it enough for LeBron to come back? Is that it? Is that going to work? Because I think at this juncture, for me, LeBron's a great story. It'd be wonderful. But it would feel like, all right, you couldn't make any other moves, so here comes LeBron, and maybe you guys are going to be better, but I don't know if I'm going to take it for a title. And then if he goes on a retirement tour, then maybe this is just like a, hey, look over here to a lot of people. Yes, Owen?
Well, in that clip that we played, they said it'd have to be a mid-level and a sign-in trade, which means you're moving somebody
else. Jared Allen has been brought up.
Jared Allen was the name, and I think that's a big no-no right now.
He's just so valuable at both ends, man. I think people realize this. I think
3
at
months
times
ago, I would have said something way different, but
I don't even know if I'd have done that 3 months ago. It was amazing because, and Jason, I think you can agree with me.
The owner had dinner and said, hey, play that guy more. He should be in the game, and then they win the game when he plays more.
Well, Jason Lloyd in for Tone today, and I think you'll agree with me. It's really crazy how we've come full circle with Jared Allen, where when the core four was first started, quote unquote, I mean, Jarrett, if we were talking about trades, Jarrett was the first name brought up every time. And now he might be the last man standing out of all that because of how valuable he is, his contract. But because of how valuable he is and because of his contract, that's what would make a team want him in return if they were to trade. Even Jaylen Brown, probably not. Even LeBron James. That's the likelihood if that were to be the case.
I mean, we said so much, I don't even know what you're asking. What are you asking at this point?
I'm not asking. I'm just giving you, I want you to give your opinion. Conversation.
I think.
Welcome to radio.
Shut up. One thing that I think gets overlooked in this is, and this was happening a lot with the Giannis conversation of, it's like, guys, it's really easy for us to sit here and say, we'll just trade this guy for that guy. And when it shortens windows and when it narrows contention windows, and then if it doesn't work, you're going to scream and holler about it, and then you're going to go away for a year and a half or 2 years while they just sit in their own rubble. It's a lot harder when you're in that building and making those decisions, and you have to show up every day.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing I would say to keep in mind is when you are driving to Independence every day and you're walking into that office and you have to make those decisions, and a year from now, 2 years from now, cupboards are going to be bare, and we don't have any draft picks to restock it. It's a lot harder. It's real easy for a fan to say, just go for it, win a championship. It's a lot harder when you're in that position, and it's going to be pretty dark on the other side. So you try and extend these things as long as you can.
Let me get to Maurice in the Bay Area. Maurice, you're first up on the Fan. Hello.
What's up, Ken?
Hi, Maurice.
I think Jay was wrong when he said that the Knicks used all their assets for OG Anunoby. They actually used them all for Mikal Bridges.
Take that, Jason.
Yeah, take that. And he lucky I ain't got a chance to talk to Shedeur about him. But anywho, I think if anything, I don't think Jaylen Brown and LeBron gets along. So I think y'all should go for Jaylen Brown. He's younger. Y'all will have him under control for 3 years. And somehow flip Harden, get rid of him, and you guys will have a chance to do something special.
Is that true? Do they not like each other? I'm asking everybody, is that true? I've never heard anything like that.
He seems to hear everything, but at the end of the day, from all accounts, LeBron and Jaylen Brown don't get along. So I'm not sure how that's going to work.
All right, Marie, what did you want to say to Jason about Shedeur?
About Shedeur?
Yeah, might as well say it. Go ahead and say it.
Terribly wrong. He's been terribly wrong about Shedeur this entire time.
Completely agree.
Shedeur's going to be your quarterback. He's going to start this year. No matter what you've heard, you always hear things. You always hear things.
I don't know as much about you, apparently, Maurice. You know more than me.
Right. What about your eyesight, though, Jason?
Tell him about the eyesight.
It's not always about hearing something. Like actually watch the game. The man's going to be your quarterback.
I saw all the interceptions.
Oh, you got it.
When did you see the interceptions? It wasn't during camp. The completion percentages were shown all over the internet.
What are you doing?
I'm goading you. Is what I'm doing.
We're not going to deal with the line, the wide receivers, et cetera, et cetera. Now he got better people around him, and anybody but Shador crowd is going to have to deal with this.
Well, you know what's so funny about that, Maurice, is this whole anybody but Shador nonsense. First of all, I'm totally against Sorsby, number one. Number two, I was against pretty much every name that came up this summer. The only name that I thought made sense was Kyler Murray. That's the only one. I didn't want the rest of them, I said no to.
I didn't want Kyler Murray. Did you say you said no to Malik Willis?
Yeah.
Why did you say no to Malik Willis? Probably agreed with me.
Because of the money.
I wasn't even just the money. I just thought it was. If I'm gonna bring in a guy with any name, anything like that, I really want to go for it and not risk a stopgap. And I just thought I like Malik Willis enough, but I just wasn't going to go that far with it. And I was surprised they weren't really involved in it. It just seemed to be there was the Dolphins and that's it. Now there's probably some other things because the conversation started to happen every day right after the season.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that I know was brought up about that guy. And it's weird to me that the Dolphins are one of the leaders in the clubhouse for one of the 2027 quarterbacks. I'm like, well, why did you even bring in Malik Willis then? Because it seems that you've made moves to position yourself to get ready for 2027. What was the point of doing the whatever it is a year for Malik Willis? That, to me, didn't make sense. I'll get to Shador coming up at 8 o'clock because I think Maurice is going to actually hate what I have to say because I think it might be the best thing for Shador Sanders, and I'm not going to give it away just yet until 8 o'clock. What was your thought on Sorsby? Because I can't believe you disagree with Lima because you guys are always hand in hand on things.
I want no part of someone who has that in his background. This team has been through enough. Ever though? Because not right now.
Because that was my thought with it.
Someone else can deal with that. I'm not saying he shouldn't be in the NFL. I'm saying make him somebody else's problem. This team has too many times, and it's too important of a position, and too many times they've taken unnecessary risks to that position. And I get, the thing I always said with Deshaun was I understand why they did what they did. They didn't think Baker was good enough and he wasn't worth the money, and you had to do something. So I get why they did it. It obviously blew up in their face.
Well, listen, I know, and there was a couple things I just didn't like. And I said this to Lyman. I'd say this when Lyman's not here because he ain't here for the rest of the week because they're going on, the vacation to Iowa. I'd said this to him, and I said this to a lot of people. And I think you would agree with me. I know you've caught a lot of hell from the Shador fans. And I'm not just saying this to get clicks and likes or anything like that, but I thought that they did. I mean, if you want to talk about quarterbacks, I thought one is a hope. One is a hope, and nothing has been proven just yet. I thought people took top 5 and said he'd be a top 5. Well, if he's top 5, he would have came out in the draft this last year, and he wouldn't have had to worry about it. And honestly, I don't know what it came out. He could have been in a Keyshawn Butte situation where he could have been taken, and then that was in college. So it might have been better. But he wasn't a top 5 prospect this year.
No.
He could have been a top 5 prospect next year, but that's could have been. There's been plenty of guys who were thought to be top 5 guys.
Garrett Nussmeier
was fell to the 7th round for crying out loud. I mean, Drew Aller was supposed to be top 5, ended up falling to the 3rd round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's been a lot of things that people have put out on guys, and I think some people got excited because, everybody wants a quarterback, and I don't believe that the Browns think that their quarterback is currently in the room. That's why you trade Miles. But more than that, this is where I totally agreed with a lot of the things that are getting online with the Shador fans. Is my issue with Anthony was that he seemed to bend over backwards for all these things that were kind of put against Shador. A lot of background stuff. I don't know exactly what happened in the interviews, and I guess I'll never know. There's been so many things said about combine stuff, whether or not he wanted to, whether or not he had headphones on. I mean, all this hearsay, all this stuff. And I'm hearing everybody and their brother, it seemed, on the other side of me, making excuse after excuse for Brennan Sorsby, again, who could be top 5. Okay, well, at one point, we talked about Shador Sanders as a top 5 prospect in the NFL draft, in the same draft as Cam Ward. So just because one guy ended up in the 5th round, I don't know the future for the other guy. And I got a guy who actively bet on his own sport. And I get that Joe Royer came out and said nice things. Curt Cignetti said nice things, even though I don't think Curt Cignetti actually coached him. I know that other guys have said nice things about Brennan Sorsby. That's great. That's a feather in the cap for him. But still, you have the mark of a person who gambled on your own sport there.
Exactly.
And my issue was the same exact issue you have, where if we get him, because we're always the place to fix these guys, right?
It's the island of misfit toys.
We
in
get
Berea.
him the first time he goes out there and throws a pick. Our timelines light up, and then if they lose, the phone lines light up. And it's one thing to call in and say a quarterback sucks. I'm used to that. It's another thing to call in and say a quarterback sucks and he has personal problems. I'm used to that too. It's been a weird history with the Browns. But it's a completely different animal to have a quarterback give up something significant like the second-round pick, like was talked about, to give up a second-round pick of significance and then have people wonder whether or not he's really trying his best. Like, I don't have to worry about that with Shedeur Sanders on the field. He's trying his best. His best might end up not being good enough in the end. We'll find out. But I know he's doing his damnedest. I know Deshaun Watson is doing his damnedest when he's out there on the field, when both of these guys are working out. I can trust them to do their damnedest job to be their best quarterback they can be. But it's a totally different animal and a completely different feeling with on-field stuff if I'm getting that with the Brendan Sorsby feeling. And I know there will be other guys that get in trouble for gambling. I'd rather another team be the one to show me either how to do it or not how to do it.
Totally agree. He can be somebody else's problem.
I love how you agree. This is amazing that we agree with each other.
What's going to happen the first time he throws a pick six in the NFL?
You're going to get a lot of jokes and you're going to get a lot of nastiness.
It's not even just on the outside. It's inside. When Deshaun was falling apart, you know how many people in the Browns locker room would walk by and go, $230 million, huh? That's what you get for $230 million?
I know a couple of them.
Oh, but I'm probably making that up too.
No, I didn't say you made that up.
But I'm not saying you. I'm saying everybody else.
Oh, okay. I was like, I never claimed you made any of that up.
But you know how many people would walk by and say,
because there were still guys who said the same thing to,
$230 million. That's what $230 million gets you, huh? So what do you think they're going to say about Brendan Sorsby? First time he loses them a game.
Did he have the money line on the Raiders?
So
because they all throw bad picks.
No, thank you. It is unnecessary. It's not. And I've been really consistent on this all along. If you're going to make me choose between Deshaun and Shedeur, I will take Shedeur every single time because there is a dead end at Deshaun. But that doesn't mean I think Shedeur is going to be this great NFL quarterback. But if you're making me choose between those two, though, I'll take Shedeur every time.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Just between those two, you're taking Shedeur, is what you said. Oh. Yeah, I agree with you on that too. I don't like this is a big agreement fest here. I got to find something to stick it to you here before the end of this segment. No, in all honesty, though, like the current quarterback room, I'll deal with the current quarterback room and give one of these guys an opportunity. I'd rather it be Shedeur. 99% would rather it be Shedeur for a multitude of reasons I've brought up several times on the air, and I can do it until kingdom come, until they actually start going to training camp. But when it comes to the Sorsby situation, I just think we saw. And I think Lima's desperate for this, and he's been desperate for this. And I'm just like, you've never learned your lesson. I know you're desperate, but this reeks, and this is not the right way to go about things. And this isn't going to help us because all it can do is toy with our emotions. I don't think this is over. I agree with Ashley Bastock yesterday, who was on Afternoon Drive, who had said, yeah, like she thinks he's going to be in the NFL this year. And I agree with her. I think that they will try to work this out, and they'll probably have some sort of a negotiation. And it will go from what looks like a 1-year suspension without it being a 1-year suspension to, hey, you know what? You're going to have to sit 6 games, and maybe we'll let you in the building and maybe not.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think he plays this year.
Don't?
Not in the NFL. No.
I wouldn't want him to play anywhere else. Like if he doesn't play in the NFL this year, honestly, like you can do the Canada stuff, all the other stuff. I'd rather you just go work out and get ready for the draft in 2027.
I think he'd still have to go through a supplemental this year to get into the league.
Yeah.
Like he has to be available for every team to make a pick at him, and then them all say no, and then
the only thing I can
do that undrafted free agent. Right?
The only thing I can think of is that Jeffrey Kessler could say, "Listen, I'm going to bring all this stuff publicly. This is going to be nasty. This is going to be ugly." And the NFL go back to the negotiation table with him, get some sort of supplemental draft. Somebody takes him next month, and then I don't got to hear about him anymore because I don't want the Browns to take him.
Yeah.
I think I should say, I can't fully agree with Ashley. I think it is a distinct possibility because I think we learned during the Deshaun thing, everything is a negotiation in the NFL.
Yes.
There are no hard rules.
Correct. But I think the NFL is drawing a hard line on gambling.
I think they are. They're trying to.
That's the one.
I think they're trying to.
They've put up with a lot, and they've forgiven a lot. That's the one where I think they're going to draw a hard line on this.
The other ones were legal matters, so they could always say, "Hey, we got to get this taken care of legally here, and then we can go ahead and we can look at it." It was perfectly legal for him to gamble. At least that's what I know. But that's still.
Well, I mean, no, he was underage.
No, the ones that he did when he was in Indiana, I believe there was ones where he was over 18, correct? Wasn't there several he was made over when he was over 18?
I don't know that for sure.
Okay, because I'm under the impression that there was several thousands he made.
He was on the non-travel roster.
Yeah, but there were gambling bets being made when he was over 18 years old. All right, the underage stuff, that's the underage stuff. The overage stuff, the legal stuff, that's still in their court. And I think the NFL knows that they have they have business partners that they want to protect their business interests with. That's why they have to have such a heavy hand about it. The
scary part in all this is this probably isn't, I mean, this is not an isolated incident. I wrote about this last week, is how big of a problem this is in young men in their early 20s.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the larger issue that we're not talking about for obvious reasons because it's a sports station. But when you combine the addiction of cell phones with the addiction of gambling, it's terrifying.
8:20, I agree with you, by the way. 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. There's another Cleveland Brown that we need to talk about with his contract, and it's not exactly who you think. Coming up in 5 minutes, the Guardians finally got themselves a win in Chicago last night, and we got to the point where I was threatening my kids' toys to be thrown in the swamp over it. Ken Carman, Jason Lloyd, in for Tone on the Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for Classic Honda in Streetsboro. Whether it be
to do with me. I mean, they moved the meeting. I didn't miss it. I was just trying to get a sweet haircut.
How it is when you win in Cleveland, man. They love you. When you lose, whew, it's the way it should be.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
That sounds really good, but I'm not 6'5", and I don't have the athletic ability to play in the NBA.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Did people on the internet see him with his feet up? Not ready to go?
I hope so.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you are. All right. My ass.
The granola will be out soon.
Yeah.
I didn't bring any today.
That was great when he ate his breakfast live on the air. That's
Again,
really respect for the
what
audience.
you're paying me, you're lucky I'm here at all.
I ain't paying you a damn thing.
Yeah, I'm not
That's the
giving
beauty of it.
The Cleveland Guardians, they salvaged the final game of the series against the White Sox, winning 4-3 in 10 innings after a 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay. But for the second game in a row, the offense wasted a great start, and Cade Smith blew the game. Khalil Watson saved the game, though. He had 6 RBIs in that series, so I think he should be getting a lot more playing time because of that. And Sean Armstrong nailed it down. Bring up the young guys. If you have all these injuries,
totally agree.
Bring them up.
Totally
them up. I mean, even though Halpin, Brito, Valera, and Kafis, they didn't really work out. Bazana, I don't know if you can even put him in that same category.
I'd rather watch Cooper Ingle strike out right now than Reese Hoskins or anybody, or Stuart Fairchild.
Halpin?
I'd rather watch Morgan Fairchild. Hey-o! All right, go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
What?
No, I'm just saying. Give your opinion.
I listen. Nobody's
That's the second time today. Do I gotta write you cards?
But you say something nonsensical, and then you're like, all right, now follow that up.
Give your opinion now. You were cordially invited to give your opinion over yesterday's game.
Well, it goes beyond yesterday's game. I'm in no way, shape, or form panicking over the Guardians. I think a lot of people are getting a little carried away here with the line. Nobody's running away with this division. They will be fine. They'll be fine. DeLauder will be back soon. Martinez will be back soon. Hosey's obviously going to take longer.
There is a growing. Let me tell you this, though. I think there's a growing sentiment of fans who are feeling more like the Cavs. Like they're going, what's your definition of fine? Like they're not satisfied with just winning the division anymore.
Well, the trade deadline is. What?
I am, because you have Morgan Fairchild playing in your lineup, but.
I do think that things will look different after the trade deadline than they look now.
But they've said that they're not going to be aggressive at the deadline, though.
Have they?
Yes.
Have they?
The team has come out, yeah. They said they're not going to be aggressive.
Wait a minute. The team came out and made a thing and told everybody that we're not going to be aggressive?
You didn't see it. They hung it outside by where they normally put how many days it is till opening day. Now they have a sign that says we won't be aggressive.
Now,
was
it Meisel, or are you just getting nervous and backtracking? You think it was Meisel. So now I'm the one who gets the text
I'm
if
the one
Meisel
that's
didn't
loading
say
in
it.
all the clips, and they're saying, the Guardians aren't going to be aggressive at the trade deadline.
How many of them were the right clips? Let's ask Owen.
If we get on the other side of the trade
out of
deadline,
100.
If we get on the other side of the trade deadline and they don't make any moves, I will be very disappointed, because this feels like a if not now when. So
especially with the work stoppage coming.
Exactly. So I think that they will be. I think that they will be aggressive.
I'll back you, Jason, in the sense that they have done so many things already this year that have been out of characteristic of what they've done for the last decade, as far as like Bazana being up already and playing already. That's something they would have not done, 3 years ago even.
I agree with Owen.
They would have waited until July to do that stuff.
No, I mean, he was the number one pick. They had to get him up. Had he not been hurt last year,
I think
he would have been up
the
sooner.
Stephen Vogt era has been so much different than the Terry Francona era has been, as far as trying to be quick to the trigger on things and not waiting to let things get away from them and then trying to dig out a hole.
Quan was on the roster opening day.
Okay.
I'm just saying, they've had rookies
He's been on
before.
the roster opening day every year since 2022.
No, his rookie year.
Wore the uniform and everything. It's real great.
His rookie year, they started him up.
Jason, they had to put him on that roster opening day. They didn't plan for him to stick around. They even said that, and then he went out and hit the cover off the ball for the first 2 series, and they were like, I guess we got to play the kid. Then Ken wanted to give him $30 million a year.
I did.
Guess what?
I'm going to give him $30 million.
Everyone was wrong.
No, I wanted him to trade him last year.
Made a great play yesterday.
Got a couple hits yesterday.
Saved the inning in the 7th.
That makes up for 195.
Well, it does, but we sure as hell needed to play. I watched that game like it was a postseason game. I'm like, we need to win. We need this. Yes. I was like, we need this win so bad. And Cade Smith gave up the home run, and then Michael Markoch tweeted about how we needed to have a conversation about Cade Smith no longer being the closer.
Almost drove to the station. On the All-Star team this year.
Almost drove to the station to fight Michael. I don't even know if he was on the air, but I'm going, you know what? This is a takesman move, and I'm just going to put my phone down and watch the rest of this baseball game.
That's a little bit of an emotional overreaction.
You think?
Yeah.
He ain't even from here. Like, if he were, like, growing up, like, oh, I'm a big Indians, now Guardians fan. Like, okay, I can get it a little bit.
It's still nonsensical, no matter where you grew up.
Yeah, but I don't have to. I could understand the nonsense and say, well, it's an emotional reaction. It's a knee-jerk, emotional, angry reaction. Things haven't been good the last couple of weeks. Nah, I give him no quarter. So go find him on the internet and beat him up for it. Not physically, but on the internet.
Terrion Arnold, Lions cornerback, was arrested on Wednesday and is facing multiple felony charges with robbery and kidnapping charges that happened in early February. Tampa police arrested 6 others, but Arnold was actually the lead conspirator, and he faces 4 counts of kidnapping and armed robbery, and he could face life in prison.
Jeez.
And Ken, I tweeted out that Howie Roseman made the right move as kind of a joke, and Ken made it actually serious. But you know what? I'm going to fight you on this right now. Howie Roseman does not draft people that have character issues. And you know who I'm more concerned about right now? You know who I'm concerned about right now? Miss Terry. I'm concerned about Miss Terry. You know who Miss Terry is?
Didn't Nolan Smith just get in trouble for something?
He's a Georgia defensive player.
I'm sorry, who did he get drafted by?
Drive the wrong direction this morning and end up on WIP? What are we doing?
Hold on, but now what he said was almost as bad as what Michael tweeted yesterday. What is it with your generation? I just gave you Nolan Smith. They're your favorite football team, and then you go, well, he's a Georgia tight.
Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a Georgia defensive tackle or Georgia linebacker.
Jalen Carter? Anyone?
Yeah.
Jalen Carter. What has he done in the league other than spit on Dak Prescott?
Not good.
Why did he fall?
What?
Why did he fall?
Oh, my God.
What?
You got
here. I'm just going to do this for everyone.
Yeah, he fell in the draft.
You got to take your loss and move on. Well, you did not.
Where's the bad one?
That was the George Custer of arguments. That was terrible. You needed to think that one out more.
Yeah, you're 0 for 2 right now. Keep going.
Miss Terry. And that's it for about last night.
I thought.
I thought you were going to bring up something else about last
we didn't
night.
have time. We got to get out on time.
Oh, is that the reason? Well, maybe if you weren't making
things in the right order, we wouldn't have to do that.
Maybe if you weren't making horrible arguments about Howie Roseman, we could have got to the Diana Rossini story.
I'm sorry, we're out of time. Gotta go to break.
You don't want to talk about Diana Rossini story?
I told her we could talk about it. It's news. I can't not talk about it. I don't know how much I can say about it, but I can't not talk about it.
Also, last night, the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Malik Thomas out of Arkansas in the second round.
Yeah.
Well,
see you in the
that's news that pertains to us. Cool.
See you in the summer league. See you in the summer league, young man. Looking forward to it. Seriously, that's not like a nasty comment. Coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. 9 o'clock, Chris Mannix, senior writer, Sports Illustrated. Coming up in 5 minutes. I got a milestone birthday coming up. I'm not going to tell you which, and Facebook knows it. And I've been inundated with one ad in particular, and it ain't going to make me happy. Just hear me out. It may very well be the best thing for Shador. Ken Carman, Jason in for Tone on the Fan. K&K Heating.
I 100% believe that the NFL all along wanted to say, no, we will not allow this. I just thought the lawyers would tell Roger and whoever else, like, look, like, we're going to lose in court if we do this.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
20 minutes away, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. I got something to say about the Browns quarterback situation here in just a moment. Also, we'll get back to the Cavs' possible trades. Chris Manx is going to join us at 9 a.m., senior writer, Sports Illustrated. So I have one of the milestone birthdays coming up.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy to deduce which one it is.
I understand, but I don't need to talk about it. It's not where I'm afraid to tell my age or anything like that. I really don't like my birthday.
I got a big one coming up too. That's a lot older than yours.
But you don't look like it.
I know. I look great.
I don't think I'm going to go.
Great.
Yeah, you mean for your age? You don't look bad. I don't think you're ugly. I've never called you ugly. I never have. Probably, but not right now.
Not to my face. Go ahead.
I got a milestone birthday coming up, and I'm a little bit bothered by it. And I put it on social media, and I put it on Facebook, too. Facebook obviously follows everything you do. And I'm sure they're listening to my conversations, except I haven't talked about it. And I haven't talked about what I keep getting bombarded with. I have been inundated with male enhancement ads on my Facebook. Were you that?
No.
You don't get
I'm so old.
Do you get on the good book still, or
no? Very, very rarely. I'm not on social media very often.
No, you're not. Well, I mean, everybody's cussing you out over Browns quarterbacks. I wouldn't either. Hey, man, I can't help what you say. You invite it yourself.
I tell the truth. I tell the truth, and it hurts people's feelings. Go ahead.
Well, fair enough. And so I am on social media, and because I have to wish the people the happy birthdays, even if they've passed away. That's terrible, but true.
You wish dead people happy birthday?
Because
every single day.
It happens a lot. It's happened at least a dozen times where I've written, because I try to keep up and wish people happy birthday on Facebook. And it's happened at least a dozen times where the person has passed away, and I don't know that they passed away. There was no notice that, hey, this person just died, Ken. And I'm like, happy birthday, have a great day. And then someone messages me and goes, hey, that person died. It's gotten to the point where I will meet somebody out and about, and they'll go, hey, we're Facebook friends, and I'm not dead. And I'm like, yeah, you're standing right in front of me. All right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And I get on Facebook, and I go and do my morning, happy birthday, have a great day, this, that, and the other. I try to. And it is just nonstop. I'm looking at it right now. It is just nonstop male enhancement pills.
Trying to tell you something. I think it's Liz. I think Liz is trying to...
Well, wait, hold on.
Go in.
Let's not go that far into the bedroom, all right? Stand out in the hallway, all right?
You're going to end up in the other chair.
No, I'm not. It is not 1994, all right? I'm not above things and honesty and ED problems or anything like that. I will say I don't have a problem right now. I have not yet. I do look like eventually I will.
Congratulations on all your success.
I don't take that. I do not deny that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very honest about all this stuff. I know what I look like, and I know it. And I know that probably with my lifestyle, it should lead to those problems eventually. But it doesn't lead to them right now, and I didn't get them last year during that birthday or the year before when I started to approach this age. And now at this age, I'm getting this. And I'm just like, I can't get a Corvette ad. I can't get a Harley ad. I can't get even hair formula ad. I have to get this ad. And it's just one after another. Different styles, different kinds. There's none from the gas station, sadly, but everything else is just different forms of the same product. And it's to the point where I have to close down the page. It's all over. Because they know I have a birthday coming up very shortly, within a couple of days. And they want me to know about it just in case.
That's creepy.
It is. It is. And I don't even ask how to stop it. I just wish it was something. I get I'm going into midlife mode.
Yeah.
And I know I'm reaching a point where I don't feel like I'm having a midlife crisis, but I'm reaching the age where you would have a midlife crisis. And I go, why would, you bought a motorcycle.
I did.
He had a midlife crisis, Jason did, and bought a Harley.
then I
took
returned
lessons,
it.
and then he returned it. Yeah. He did it, Owen. He did it.
How did I not know this one?
It was. Yeah. I think I was turning 40, and I was at my niece's birthday, or I'm sorry, wedding, and my brothers are big motorcyclers, and they go to Sturgis every year, and they're like, "You should come with us." And I had like 2 or 3 glasses of wine at the wedding reception. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm going. I'm going to buy a Harley and go to Sturgis." And I went to the Harley store the next day, bought a Harley.
And then he took lessons to ride it. Did you pass the lessons?
Yeah. Well, I flipped over the motorcycle during training. Like I flipped over the handlebars, and then an hour later, I got a perfect score on the test. So I have my endorsement.
At least you're a quick learner.
I have my endorsement for motorcycle, but I was like, you know what? The kids still need me.
When you return the Harley, do they have to put a sign on it that says "Has bucked one rider"?
I had only put a down payment on it. I didn't totally go through with it.
Did you?
Unless he was looking at me like, you've lost your mind.
Did you have a midlife crisis, Owen, at all?
No, not really. I probably got another 50 years to go, though, so I'm not there yet.
To your midlife crisis?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Like I haven't felt it that way yet. I'm not denying I would, because it happens to almost all men, right? A midlife crisis, right?
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet. And I'm just like, where are the other things? Why aren't you like when I think of a midlife crisis or turning that age, you do think of male enhancement pills. It happens, especially because you see other guys and all the jokes and all the things like that. But it's also like, all right, where's my car ads? Where's my hair stuff? I have a full head of hair right now, thank God. But like, where's the color hair? Because I've gained significantly more gray hair over the last 5 years.
You accused me of coloring my hair.
You do color your hair.
I do not. You
yes,
psychopath.
You do. Okay, whatever.
If I colored my hair, would I leave this big bald spot back here?
Calling me the psychopath. You're the one who sat there and bought a Harley Davidson after 3 bottles of wine, and you're calling me a psychopath.
Glasses, not even bottles.
Oh,
glasses.
Yeah, that's what you say, Lushy. I just want to know, what is a healthy way to go through a midlife crisis?
Don't buy Harley.
No. You got to go through it. I think that might actually be the healthiest way. Just if you just got a car or you just got a motorcycle and you didn't do any of the other things that guys do in like a midlife crisis, where you heard about it. We all know somebody who did.
Why don't you give those things a try?
A motorcycle?
Nope.
I'd look like one of those McGuire twins.
Ads for right now.
Try one of the pills?
Yeah.
Eventually I will, but not now.
Why not?
I haven't yet. I swear to God. I will eventually. I'm sure I will.
Just try it. See if you like it.
Does anybody have experience with them?
Give it a try. See if you like it.
Are they that good?
I don't know. That's what I heard.
Okay. Well, Saturday will be here. Maybe I will. Maybe the ad, and that's what somebody at Facebook will say, and that's why we send you all the ads, Ken, because you'll bitch about it, and then somebody's going to tell you to try it.
Eventually, you'll click on
Maybe
one.
I've been missing out my entire adult life.
I do think there are a lot of things that you get up to 40 and you go, that doesn't affect me, and then one day it just does, and you're like, where'd that come from?
Yep.
How'd that affect me? It just does, Ken.
Yeah.
You hit 40 and things just, and it's not just that. There's a lot of things in life that just, all of a sudden you go, I've never had this be an issue for me before, with more than just that.
Yeah,
just,
good point.
Everyday walking around type of stuff.
And then
all of a sudden it hits you and your knee starts popping when it shouldn't be popping. And I've done this same stretch for 20 years and it's been fine.
I picked up a couch and moved a couch from a friend's house to another house last week.
Really?
My back was killing me for like a day and a half. Like, why does my back hurt so? I was like, because you picked up a couch, you moron.
Yeah.
Like something simple as that.
Yeah. I'm not in denial of any of those things, and I'm not in denial of what those pills would help with. I'm not in denial of any of that stuff. I think that's where guys get in trouble. Like I'm ready to accept things as they come, and getting older, I'm ready to accept that as it happens. I'm not going to deny any of it, and I'll face everything head on when it comes to me. Like that's not part of the problem. That's why I think maybe I could get out of this without having a midlife crisis if I'm willing to accept these things.
Yeah, I think maybe you just maybe go ahead and take. I'm sure there's free trials. Pick you up a free trial. That way you've got it.
Free trial.
If you ever want to experiment, you don't go, well, I need to mail away for this and then wait 3 days for it to get back to me or however long it takes.
Can I ask just one more? Can I ask one more tight question before I ask you guys the Denzel thing? One more tight question.
All right.
Is it one of those things, and you could just say a friend of mine or whatever. Is it one of those things where you do it once and then you got to keep doing it?
No. I don't think so.
Okay. Because, like, I don't want to have to, like, take one every day.
It's not like wearing glasses and then all of a sudden, if you take the glasses off,
you can't see.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like that at all.
It doesn't kill it.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe.
I think sometimes it's like a party favor.
Yeah. Because it's like, you hear about things, a party favor?
It's like taking Molly.
What?
There we go. Now we're where we want to be.
Can I ask you a question? I thought John was going to take it here, so I agreed with what Owen was saying during about last night. Does the Terrion Arnold thing kind of sort of open back up the Denzel Ward conversation again? Would Detroit call over, like, their teams are going to call no matter what.
Yeah.
You can't stop a team calling.
Sure.
But this is a team that does have Super Bowl aspirations. He's a good player. He is now in a lot of trouble. This is a guy who is facing life in prison, as we say this. This is Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold, who's accused of being the ringleader of robbery and kidnapping down in Florida.
Unbelievable.
And he is facing life in prison. So regardless, more than likely, with what he's facing, unless we don't have any evidence and charges are completely dropped within the next month,
I'd say he's not going to be on the field this year.
this is going to be a lost season for him. So if it's a lost season for him, Jason, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe the Lions are wondering that. They've made bold moves before, obviously. Would they be a team that might be willing to call and maybe even give a little bit more than they would be because of this surprise that's on their plate now?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. Lions were always the team connected to Miles a couple years ago.
Yes.
So now here we are again. Yeah, if I'm Detroit, I'd for sure pick up the phone
and
at least gauge the price.
And I know the fans are annoyed with it, but this is what happens when you do trade Miles.
Once you trade Miles, everything's on the table.
Everything's a conversation.
Yeah.
So you can't deny. You can be annoyed.
And by the way, I'm on record. That was the right call to trade Miles.
Well, that's not the argument. But the argument is because a minute you trade Miles, like I did, I threw my hands up and I went, well, fine, Denzel, fine too. And there's pushback on that. People were upset about that. Like, he's from Cleveland. He's still great. And I was like, I get that.
I do think there's a danger from the Browns, and you still have to have some sort of veteran presence in the locker room. You don't want to go completely young.
That's true. And he's been
he's tremendous.
He's been a very good player and a good person for them.
Yes.
And he's been obviously he's been just a model citizen.
And Jared Verse may very well be that guy day one, but you don't know that yet.
Yeah,
you got to get in there and see it.
Plus,
first.
Denzel does make Jared Verse's world easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, brought in a guy like Quincy Williams though too to help.
That's true.
With that,
and he's a
leadership
veteran.
type of.
And that's a good egg right there. I mean, we had him on the show. He's wonderful, and all I've heard. You hear nothing but terrible things about the Jets until you get to Quincy Williams, and then it's nothing but great stuff.
I think anytime there's anybody needs a secondary help, we're going to talk about Denzel being one of those guys.
Exactly right.
The end of October, right?
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable conversation, and I know fans get really, really, really annoyed with it, and I would too. But when you trade Miles in something, I don't think things like this should happen all the time with what Terrion Arnold's accused of, obviously. But if a guy goes down in camp, a corner goes down in camp, guess what? We have to have the conversation again. Because the longer they hold on to him and the more flies drop, the price goes up.
Yeah.
216-474-0092. I want to ask Mary Kay that question, as well as somebody else who we might not have noticed it, but there's another person on that defense whose future is in question. Ken Carman, Jason, in for Tone on the Fan.
Vegas Summer League. Get all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Obviously, there's no offseason anymore in the NFL. It just keeps on going, whether you like it or not. And Mary Kay Cabot's here to talk about it. We like her. I don't know if she likes talking to us. We'll find out. Mary Kay Cabot with us. Jason Lloyd in for Anthony Lima.
I don't know about you.
Well, of course she likes talking to me. What are you talking about? Mary Kay's on the Wise Heart Right.
People.
We make it right. Call Kyle Right hotline. Hello, Mary Kay. Whoa. Hello, Mary Kay.
Guys.
Hi. How are you? Well, I don't need to ask you how you are. I'm sorry. I got thrown off a little bit there. I got a weird question here, and it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. Terrion Arnold gets arrested, conspiracy to rob and kidnap, and that's ugly. And he probably is not going to be back this season unless he gets completely exonerated of anything very, very soon. It doesn't look like that's going to happen either. The Lions have to call the Browns then, don't they? And this is a conversation that we're probably going to have. Hopefully no more guys get arrested, but if another corner goes down, like because of the Myles Garrett trade, we just have to have this conversation every time because the less corners that are good in the NFL, the more his price would go up.
Well, I think, as you mentioned, the Myles Garrett trade makes certain that no one is completely off limits and that everyone has a price and that there's a time and a place for everything. Mm-hmm. But I really don't see the Browns having any desire whatsoever to trade Denzel Ward. Now, of course, having said that, and like I said back when you asked me about Myles Garrett, you can never say never about any of these things. You're not going to trade someone until someone comes along and offers you Jared Verse and a first-round pick and a second-round pick and a third-round pick. So you can never say never. We know that Andrew Berry loves to wheel and deal, but at this moment in time, I don't think that they have any plans whatsoever to trade Denzel Ward.
Everybody has a price. I agree with everything you just said. What would the price have to be on Denzel for them not to do it, but to have this conversation of, okay, we have to take this seriously?
Well, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He's a great leader for this football team. First-round picks would certainly have to be involved. And I don't know if it would have to be multiple or if it would have to be one and some other good things. But you're not going to give up Denzel Ward for nothing. He would come at a pretty steep and heavy price. Mm-hmm. And once again, I just don't even think that this is something that they want to do in any way, shape, or form.
Another person in that secondary, Grant Delpit, and he wasn't participating, and I kind of threw it in with Lima. Was he kind of having a hold in? Because that's a contract that's up. What do you know about the future of Grant Delpit with the Cleveland Browns?
Grant is in really, really good standing. If you watched him on the sidelines, you could see with your own two eyes that he was not conducting a hold-in. He was engaged. He was helping other players. He was laughing. He was joking around. He was watching drills. He was very, very much into it. And he showed up for voluntary OTAs as well. You're not going to do that if you are staging a hold-in. So this is not that kind of situation with him. He had a minor tweak of something, as did Denzel Ward during minicamp. These were not a pair of contract issues going on out there by any stretch. Grant is in great standing with the club. They like Grant as much as they always have. And I would think at some point over the next several months that they will open up probably some extension talks with him. And I think they certainly like him well enough to try to get something done.
I was going to say, how quickly can they get some done with him? He's still a young player. He's still very, very good, but you answered it right there. I want to ask you about your Myles Garrett story there. It seemed like, does it feel like that maybe there was writing on the wall leading up to this? Because, yeah, he's respected in the locker room, but it wasn't necessarily a lovey-dovey relationship with the rest of the team.
Well, as I wrote in my story about Jared Verse being more of a connector, a unifier, maybe a force multiplier in some ways, I think that Myles had the impact on some guys that he almost dwarfed some of the other players on the football team just with his larger-than-life presence, I think there were times on the football field where maybe a guy was a little reluctant to go all out and meet him at the quarterback for half of a sack because maybe he knew he would hear about that or something. You know, I just think that Jared Verse might have more of a team-building effect on this roster. And the players, most of the players, all of the players respected Miles, revered Miles. Not all of them absolutely loved him in the way that you sometimes do with a teammate. So we'll see how this goes. I don't necessarily think that he was one of those guys that you would call a great team leader by any stretch.
Yeah, totally agree with that. The Sorsby thing, and I'm asking this from a stance of I want no part of him in Cleveland. I've been consistent on that. I'm just curious, from what you know, do you think he wins this, what seems to be a legal battle that's about to ensue, or is he really sitting out the year?
Well, this is kind of a tangled mess right now, and I don't know if they're going to have time to actually pull off a supplemental draft, which has to be conducted, I think, 7 days before the start of training camps, which I think most camps open around July. Yeah, it's coming very fast. For some teams, it's sooner than July 29th. For a lot of teams, it is July 29th, including the Browns. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get something done in time for the 2027 season. So I think we all have to see how this is going to play out. And I think it could end up in court. The NFLPA is going to get involved. But I just don't think that the Browns are hot on his heels to put in a bid on him in the event that he somehow is able to pull off a supplemental draft before this season. I'm not feeling it. I wrote that right off the rip when he first said he was entering the supplemental draft, and I still feel that way. I don't think much has changed in that regard. I think they like what they have in the room, and I don't think they want to get involved in this situation.
Speaking of quarterbacks, there's been some smoke in certain places about trade rumors for, two members of the Browns quarterback room, and Dylan Gabriel and certainly Shedeur Sanders. I haven't heard anything. But have you, Mary Kay? Has there been anybody who's texting you about teams putting in calls about Shedeur or even Dylan Gabriel?
No, not at the moment. I think that the Browns are pretty committed to their two-way quarterback competition between Shedeur and Deshaun, and I think camp will open up that way, and then we'll see how that plays out. Now, when you fast forward to August 30th and it comes time to shaping your roster and making those cutdowns, at that point they will do what they always do, and they will listen to offers for any quarterbacks that aren't starting. And that's just how it goes. Each year we've heard about, them possibly trading Joe Flacco and possibly trading Jameis Winston, possibly trading a number of guys. And quite often they do end up trading those guys. So I do think that there is a world in which if Deshaun wins the job, that they probably would at least take a phone call for Shedeur. They would take phone calls for Dylan Gabriel. But I don't think they're shopping him right now. I don't think they're looking to trade him. I think they want to conduct their quarterback competition and let it play out.
It just seems to be, Mary Kay as well. Mary Kay Cabot joining us on the show. It just seems to be nonsense where, Kenny Pickett got traded last year, but he was traded after he had the hamstring tweak in camp. And once he had the hamstring, and it's like, well, he could be out 2 weeks. I'm like, well, that's it. He ain't going to be the starting quarterback now. And, yeah, they've traded quarterbacks, but they've made it kind of clear they were moving on from them being the starter. This would be crazy where it's like, hey, this guy, he is legitimately in the conversation to be the week one starter. I don't think you'd be talking about trading him. I don't understand about any rumors about trading Shedeur Sanders. I could understand Dylan Gabriel to some level, I guess, for a seventh rounder, but Shedeur, I don't think. You have a new head coach. Why would you do something like that right now? It doesn't make sense.
Well, you would not be engaging in substantive trade talks right now. You just wouldn't be doing that.
Okay.
What might happen, perhaps, maybe you're checking around about the availability of another player. And while you're on the phone with the team, they say, hey, what are your plans with Shedeur? I mean, there could be things like that going on because teams have those kinds of talks all the time. But I'm sure at that point, that's where the Browns would say, no, we're not moving him. We're conducting a quarterback competition. We think he could possibly be our week 1 starter. We see some really good things in him. He came on really strong in the second half of OTAs and in minicamp, and we're not ready to give up on him yet. We want to see what we have. So I'm sure that's probably how the conversations would go.
Can you keep him as the backup if he doesn't win the starting job?
I think it would be challenging. I think it would be very challenging. I think the Browns probably believe they can do that, but I think that perhaps they would be underestimating the reaction that would be happening at Huntington Bank Field. And they'll probably get a taste of it in preseason, and they should. They should find out what happens when you put Deshaun Watson out there and when you put Shedeur out there and what the reaction is, because it's going to be more of the same. This will be a unique situation if Deshaun wins the job because he'll actually be better received on the road than he will be at home. And it's a great way to start out the season with 2 games on the road, but then you do have to come home, and you are going to have to deal with the very real phenomenon of Shedeur being loved and Deshaun being the villain. And it's something that has to be addressed and dealt with, and it's just a very, very interesting problem to have.
Well, if he's named the backup officially, like after camp, they go, we're going to go with Deshaun. There's you can't. It could end up being the best thing for Shedeur because I could see a world where, hey, you started out behind the 8 ball last year, you got thrust into games that maybe you weren't ready for, you had to catch up with, and when you got a new coach, you got a new system. I mean, I don't want to have to be talking about, well, we got to trade him just because he doesn't start. I don't think that could be very good for Shedeur's career. I don't think that could be good for Shedeur's maturation as an NFL quarterback.
But aren't they telling you what they think about him if Deshaun starts over him?
Yeah, I certainly do agree that they think that he's more equipped for them to win games. I was asking Mary Kay that question, though, not Jason.
Well, Mary Kay can answer.
Oh, sorry, Mary Kay. Go right on ahead.
Here's the thing. I'm sure the Browns would think that even if Deshaun starts the season, they want to keep Shedeur around because generally they end up starting 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks in a season, and they probably would get a chance to see Shedeur like they did last year when he came from 4th-string quarterback to starting quarterback of this football team for the final 7 games. So there is probably a world in which he would start games even if he doesn't start the season. But right now, they really legitimately, truly feel that he has a shot to do that, and they're not ready to give up on that.
Mary Kay Cabot on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, call Kyle Wright hotline. Final question, how do you keep raccoons out of the garbage?
You have to keep the garage door closed.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase the question. When the garbage is taken out to the curb, how do you keep raccoons out of your garbage?
Mary Kay lives in a gated community. There are no raccoons.
Raccoons can climb over gates, can climb over walls. She doesn't live in a biosphere.
This is a good question. Maybe put a little dish outside of the garbage can with some raccoon food in it.
Well, raccoon food's just garbage, so I would just sprinkle a little bit of garbage on a plate.
Garbage.
There you go.
Okay.
A little plate of garbage for your raccoons, right next to the garbage can.
Well, thank you, Mary Kay. You've given us a drop for the show, and we appreciate it.
Congratulations on your promo, Lee.
Yes, thank you so much, Mary Kay. You have a wonderful day and weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Mary Kay Cabot on the Wise Heart Right. We Make It Right. Call Right hotline. Because someday I'm going to be bitching about the Browns quarterback situation, and Owen's going to hit something that's maybe you just get a little plate of garbage and you put it out there for the raccoon. All right, I was going to talk about Miles there for a second. Are you questioning whether or not Shedeur can be a backup or be the backup for the Browns? Because she brings up a hell of a thing. Because I remember the Joe Flacco conversation about letting him go after the 2023 year, and she just jogged that memory.
But that's when you still cared about what Deshaun thought back then.
I'm going to ask everybody that question in 5 minutes. Chris Mannix going to answer some questions of whether or not the Celtics really want Evan Mobley and whether or not the Cavs would be willing to give him up for Jaylen Brown. That's at 9 on The Fan.
is free play. Must be 21. Certain restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
Nine o'clock, Chris Mannix. We got to get going with this. So you think that this is a hell of a thing? Because I am focused on, I want to do what's best. I got to try to split the difference here, Jason. I want to do what's best by the team. And if that means starting Deshaun, fine, I'll live with it.
How is that possibly what's best for the team?
Well, you have to think about the locker room. You have to think about Todd Monken and what he has to do what's best for the locker room.
So, I ask, how is that possibly what's best for the team?
If Deshaun Watson ends up being the better quarterback, then you have to start Deshaun.
Then what are you doing with Shedeur?
Making him the backup.
If the Browns had the number one pick and they took Fernando,
wouldn't Shedeur Sanders accept that?
If they had the number one pick, okay,
yeah,
they drafted Fernando Mendoza.
Okay,
would we be having this conversation?
About him being the backup?
About who would you start, Deshaun or Fernando Mendoza?
No.
Okay. So what's the difference?
You wouldn't. What are you talking about?
What's the difference? So clearly, if you're telling me they're going to start Deshaun over Shedeur, that tells me
I'm not
blatantly
telling you.
They do not believe in Shedeur. Blatantly.
Well, wait a minute. No, I just gave you the scenario last segment about why they wouldn't start Shedeur when we were talking to Mary Kay. Listen, there's been a lot. I didn't agree with the handling of the quarterback situation, regardless of who was playing quarterback last year. I didn't agree with any of that stuff. I didn't agree with taking Dylan Gabriel and turning right around and taking Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round because I thought he's a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. And I think everybody thinks that. Oh, excuse me, the people who want to look at the stats, fine. It's the same ones who want to look at completion percentage in camp. Anyway, I don't understand what you're saying about Shedeur. That he can't be the backup to Deshaun Watson?
I'm saying if they believed in him, they would make him the starter. That's what I'm saying.
Well, they can believe in him, but wait, hold on. There's been plenty of guys we don't believe that you can play now, but you can play later. Are you
this
just
is
saying,
his second year?
So you think
he's not a rookie?
But he was put into a position they did not want to play him when they played him.
Clearly,
all right. But part of that reason is they couldn't play him when they had to play him because he was too far behind.
So now
that's what we're told.
So now he's now in year 2, and he's still not ready. He still can't play.
But hold on here. If he wasn't ready to go and he wasn't in a position to make himself better, make the team that much better last year, I go through an entire offseason where I change out my offensive coordinator, my head coach, my whole thing. We're going to have a new offense put out there. I mean, you're catching him up again. So if you're catching him up again, it would only be common sense, would it not, that the veteran QB who's seen different offenses would be in a better position to at least start the season?
So now, so what? Now year 2.5, he might be ready to play?
But I'm not just putting hold on. I'm not just putting Shedeur out there just to put Shedeur out there. If I don't think he's going to be in a position to help himself win, then I'm just hurting him. I'm hurting the team. I'm hurting his career.
But you just said
it's irresponsible.
You just said if it was Mendoza, then Mendoza would start. Well, Mendoza would be in the same system with the new.
Mendoza's the number 1 overall pick, and I have said this before. They do have a veteran there, do they not? In the Raiders, where they could start the season.
Yeah.
So I would assume that yes, because it's the Browns, I should say that Fernando Mendoza would start. But you could go into a situation where Fernando Mendoza, if he were with the Browns, wouldn't start the season with the Browns.
All of the obstacles that you just said Shedeur has with a new system and a new court. Well, that'd be the same thing with Mendoza. It
would be.
If you believe in the guy,
it would be.
Where's this team going? If you believe in him and you believe he has a chance to be the future quarterback, then you play him.
But I think you could sit there and not start him week 1 and still have some modicum of belief. But I'm not saying they even believe in him, because if they believed in him, they wouldn't have traded Myles Garrett.
Well,
so it's not about that.
Yes.
It's about seeing if there's any possibility in him before we move on. And I can see him and any possibility of him at the beginning of October. I don't have to start him week 1. I don't. I can get a decent sample size again going, hey, we're going to start the veteran, and this is a challenge to you. How do you deal with being the primary backup? And he's so far in the media and all that stuff, he's passed so far. How do you deal with being the backup? How do you deal with preparing yourself to be ready to be thrown into a football game again as the primary number 1 backup? And then eventually you're going to get your chance. And I assume, because we don't think very highly of Deshaun Watson, and he's somehow regressed while they were wearing T-shirts and shorts, so I can't imagine it's going to be much better with guys buzzing the tower. Eventually, Shedeur is going to get his chance to start sooner than later. I don't need to talk about belief in guys. They showed us what they believe in the quarterback room.
I just don't know why we have to keep putting guardrails up. This is year 2.
We put guardrails up for every young quarterback. At least I do.
It's year 2 now.
Well, what's year 2, year 1? What's the difference?
The difference is he
already started behind.
You have a dead end in front of him. This is going nowhere with Deshaun. Nowhere. So what are you doing? What is he possibly going to learn before October that he doesn't know now?
If Deshaun is that bad, and Shedeur
should start week 1.
Hold on.
Then Shedeur should start week 1.
Is not ready.
How is he not ready by now?
Just because Watson isn't good doesn't mean Shedeur's ready in my eyes.
How is he not ready by now? He's now had the full offseason program.
Jason, here we are. Jason, I just told you, you could go through a summer and still be behind. There's a lot of things that you have to take in, especially with a different offense. What?
Then you have your answer.
Wait a minute.
Then you have your answer.
It's not about answers and non-answers. I'm talking about giving a guy a chance during a season where I'm more than likely, very much more than likely, going to draft a quarterback in 2027.
If he can't
I don't understand why you're biting my head off here.
If he can't beat out, and by the way, I think they should play Shedeur. I've said it a million times.
I understand that, but I want to play Shedeur too. But I don't want to just throw him to the wolves. If he's not ready, I could just throw Deshaun to the wolves. How can you be
throwing him to the wolves? This is his second year.
If he's not ready, How is that not getting through?
How can he not be ready? How can he not be ready?
I don't know. I'm not in the building, Jason. I'm not right now.
If he's not ready,
I wasn't able to attend OTAs because everything else.
If he's not ready after a full offseason program and a full training camp and all of that, with splitting the reps and all that, if he's still not ready, you have your answer.
We already got the answer when they traded Myles Garrett.
So then why would you keep him around as the backup? Why?
Because he's not ready to go. If this is the case, he would not be ready to go, and I'm not going to put him in a position to make things worse. That's not what a good coach does.
So I
gotta put a guy in a position to help himself and help the team.
On September 30th,
I'm not just throw him to the wolves.
On September 30th, he's going to wake up and say, "Okay, now I got it."
No.
October 1st, I'm ready to go now. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying.
That's asinine, and you know it's
yes,
asinine.
It is asinine because that's what you're saying. In October he'll be ready. He's not ready now.
I didn't
he'll
say
be ready in October.
I didn't say
he's been here for a year.
You asked me, and I gave you a different thing. I didn't say exactly when the calendar turns to October 1st, he's going to be ready to go. I'm giving you a generalization here. That's what I'm doing. Because I don't know when he's going to be ready to go. If he's not ready to go at the beginning of the season, it's no hair off my ass, and I don't think it should be this great big problem. It can be a good thing. Hey, I brought up Josh Allen a bunch of times. Now, Josh Allen got injured, but the best thing that happened to Josh Allen was that he got off the field, was able to slow things down, and then went back out on the field. Why can't I say the same for other guys? Why can't I use that example for other guys? Now, Josh Allen's naturally more talented. No, I'm not making that comparison, but I'm talking about timelines. You could put guys back in there if the game's too fast for them, and maybe the game was a little bit fast for them. And so if it's moving too quickly, and we didn't do anything good by him by getting a new head coach in and getting a new system in and having all this, it's still a bad situation. So I have to make the best of a bad situation. I'm not going to put a guy out there unless I know that he can defend himself and make the team better. Unless I absolutely have to.
And I agree with that.
So Watson, because of his experience, the tie would go to Watson. He would have to be horrific. Both Shedeur would have to look inept or completely in over his head when it comes to the offseason. And Watson would have to be so horrifically bad. I don't think he's going to be so horrifically bad. He's not going to be good. I don't think he's going to be good. And I can see a world where Shedeur is like, hey, you're on your way. You're not there yet. Let's not freak out over this. And I don't think he will. I know the fan base will. That's a different conversation. Let's play this by ear. Make yourself ready, and then we'll watch. And by the way, that's another test to Shedeur Sanders, which he's already been a pretty good teammate, it seems. So I will use that as another test, and if he uses it and continues to use it the right way, he's going to get his chance sooner than later. I mean, are we not talking? That's surprising to you? That's
if he can't beat out Deshaun for week 1, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't think that's that. I don't think that's
exactly
unreasonable.
Stop it.
That's not unreasonable.
You know exactly what we're
Deshaun
doing
has
here.
barely played in the last 4 years.
Well, listen.
3 years.
You know exactly. So then why are people talking about the stupid trade rumors for him?
Neither one of these guys have any value. Neither one of them do.
But nobody's calling. Somebody mentioned this on the internet yesterday. It was a brilliant point. Nobody's calling about backup quarterbacks to a guy who hasn't been good in 6 years.
No.
Not yet, anyway. Okay?
Neither one of them. None of the Browns quarterbacks have trade value.
But let me point this out. So if nobody's calling, I'm not just going to cut a guy. Okay? Fans do like him. I'm not just going to cut him. Now, that's not a reason to hold on to him. But fans do like him. I'll throw that in there. And there is some good play in there. Is it enough to set the 2027 draft on fire? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm advocating for. I think we all know where this goes. This goes to the draft next April. But in the meantime, I got to go through a season. I might as well give him a chance, but when he's ready. Because I'm just confirming all the negative aspects to him if I throw him out there when he's not ready to go. And we may get to a point, and I may have to admit it, we could be in the beginning of the season and Deshaun Watson's playing, and Deshaun Watson could not be good, and I could be sitting there looking at you and looking at Lima and looking at Owen and going, hey, he must just not be that good. Fine, I'll admit it when it happens. But I just don't understand why we have to be so close-minded to the possibility that, yeah, he might not be ready to go right now, but that doesn't mean I just cut him and get rid of him or whatever. I don't think I need to do that.
We'll see.
Well, you just glared at me right there.
I have an RBF. I don't mean to.
Chris Mannix is going to join us in 5 minutes. I'll get back to this with you. I'm not letting you off the hook. Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated. Does it have to be Evan Mobley? Could it be Donovan Mitchell? Seems like it's going to have to be Evan Mobley if you want to get Jaylen Brown. And why I should say yes. Jason did a pretty good job of it earlier this morning. Maybe Chris Mannix can get me over the threshold. That's coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. Friends.
might the Celtics be interested in? And the name and the team that came back to me a lot was Evan Mobley and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mobley's one of those guys that could fit the archetype of the type of player that the Celtics are looking for. Now, if it is a deal they're interested in, is a complicated deal to make because the Cleveland Cavaliers are a second apron team, and there are a whole bunch of different rules that go with being a second apron team, including the need to match dollar for dollar value with the player that goes out. That's just mathematically impossible, it seems like, in this moment. But that's the name trending.
Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated senior writer, and we have him right now. That was on NBC Boston a couple of days ago, and we have him now on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. Chris, thank you very much for joining us this morning. If we're looking at it from like a football field standpoint, like, oh, yeah, they're on the 10-yard line or whatever, what yard line are we on between the Cavs and the Celtics on a possible deal, or have we even hit the football field yet?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure what yard line we're on. I don't know if we've hit the field. We probably have already hit the field in terms of maybe some exploratory conversations, because I do believe that a player like Evan Mobley is someone the Celtics would be very interested in, someone they'd be willing to deal Jaylen Brown for. They're talking to other teams. Most of these calls that they're getting, from what I'm told right now, are incoming calls, teams looking to see if they can poach Jaylen Brown for a discount type of price. But the Celtics, they've made it clear they're looking to get dollar for dollar value back in return, to get something in return that helps them win with Jason Tatum over the next 3 or 4 years. And there are very few players out there that fit that mold. The Celtics, one thing I was told explicitly was they're looking, if they're going to trade Jaylen Brown, it's going to be for an elite big man. And if you were making any lists of elite big men that hypothetically could be available, Evan Mobley is probably at the top of that list.
Chris Mannix joining us on the show. Usually it's Carman and Lima. Anthony is out today. From The Athletic, Jason Lloyd.
Hi, buddy.
What's up, Lloyd?
Oh, you guys know each other.
Of course.
I know.
It's been a minute.
Go ahead.
Can we go back to the beginning? Has this just run its course between Jaylen and JT in Boston, or why the impetus now? Or is it just that the genie got out of the bottle with Giannis and there's no going back now?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think the fact that the Celtics know that they can't compete for a championship without, elite or high-level big men is a big variable here. And there are no big men on the market that are, appealing that the Celtics can go out and land. Like, they've got a pretty big trade exception. I think it's about $27 million. I guess hypothetically they could go and call Milwaukee and say, we'll take Miles Turner. I don't know if that moves the needle. The Celtics really haven't been interested in Miles Turner before. But their fatal flaw last year in the playoffs was that they got just battered by Joel Embiid over the final 3 games of that first round. And it only gets worse after that. Like, you're looking at the Knicks with Towns, and if you do make it to the NBA Finals, you got to deal with Wembanyama and other bigs. And there's just no pathway to getting the kind of big that can help them win a championship other than using Jaylen Brown as that asset. Now, the difference this time around with Jaylen Brown as opposed to previous times, because we've been doing Jaylen Brown trades since 2018.
Yep.
Like, he was going to get traded for Kawhi Leonard. He was going to get traded for Anthony Davis. 4 years ago, it was Kevin Durant. They were, in those years, they were really hyper-focused on one player, right? When the AD stuff didn't work out, they weren't looking to flip Jaylen Brown for somebody else. When that didn't pan out, they weren't looking to flip Jaylen Brown elsewhere. Now, it seems to me like they're more motivated than ever to move off of him and to split these two guys up. And again, part of that is there's no other pathway to getting an elite big man without using Jaylen Brown. And part of that may be they feel like this duo, as good as they are, they've just kind of run their course.
Chris Mannix joining us here from Sports Illustrated. He's on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. Then I have to ask this question. If the Celtics feel they can't win another with Jaylen Brown, why would the Cavs feel they can win one without Evan Mobley and with Jaylen Brown?
Well, I think because I think Jaylen, to me anyway, makes more sense in Cleveland than he does in other potential situations. Like, there are a couple ways you can look at the Cavs in this past season. One is the Kenny Atkinson way, which is we took a step forward. We were a better team this year than we were last year. We made the conference finals, yada, yada, yada. The other part of it is, we needed 7 games in multiple rounds and nearly got beat by the Toronto Raptors and we got boat raced by the Knicks. Like that, we're not there. We're not there with this group. The Cavs still have Jared Allen to backstop that front line. They've got 2 bigs. I kind of like the fit of Jalen in Cleveland. Jalen's a championship guy who's coming off the best season of his career, who's proven that he can be the guy in big games. I mean, he was the conference finals MVP 2 years ago. He was the finals MVP 2 years ago, and he's only getting better. I also like the dynamic there. I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown are great friends. Like, they've been close for many years now. So that's I think, part of the equation with a potential deal like this. I actually think I don't know, frankly, if Boston is a better team with Evan Mobley over Jaylen Brown. I kind of think that the Cavs are a better team with Jaylen Brown as opposed to Evan Mobley.
I'm 100% with you. And sort of the Jaylen Brown trade rumors in Boston for years, it's the same thing with people around here. I think tend to undervalue Evan quite a bit, and he constantly comes up in trade rumors, and I've dismissed, I think, every single one of them until now. This one, to me, makes a lot of sense on both sides, and you don't see that very often, to the point where who else is out there, Chris, that, like, because I asked Ken earlier, if you're not going to trade Evan for Jaylen Brown, who are you? Like, you're not going to trade him at all, because in a realistic scenario, who's available, there's nobody else available who's better, and I would tend to go the same way from Boston. Who else is out there from Boston's perspective? If it's not Evan, who else are they? Like, I just think that this really lines up well, and I don't know that there's a lot of matches for both of these teams outside of these two teams.
I don't think there are a lot either. I mean, I think you could probably – I think Houston would be a team to watch without Prince Şengün, but he's a below-the-rim big man who doesn't bring much to the table defensively. That's not really what the Celtics are looking for. That's not a Joe Mazzulla type of player. I think Atlanta potentially could get into that mix with with some of the guys they'd be willing to deal. Dyson Daniels, you could probably get Risa Shea out of Atlanta, but that's kind of getting a few quarters on the dollar, to reach Jaylen Brown's number. I mean, this, when this was brought up to me by the different executives that I've been talking to, I feel the same way you did. I'm like, well, Boston needs a big man. And I think in Boston, you can, in that kind of player development machine that Joe Mazzulla has done, especially with big men, where you got Keita turning into a pretty viable guy last year. I think they could probably extract a little bit more out of Mobley, who I thought kind of plateaued a little bit this year after taking a jump in previous years. And I think in Cleveland, you've got another dynamic guy who can play multiple front court positions, who can get you a bucket, and complement Donovan Mitchell in those kind of ways. And as you're thinking about Donovan Mitchell's long-term future in Cleveland, Donovan, he would never say anything bad about any teammates, and I'm sure he loves playing with Evan Mobley. But we know the relationship with Jaylen Brown. We know they've been friends for a long time. And I think Donovan can see the addition of Jaylen Brown as maybe moving the Cavs one step closer to being that kind of championship team. And I know we're obsessed now with, let's get big. We got to match up with Wembanyama, all that stuff. 2 years ago, you had to have great wings. And I think you still have to have great wings. Because if for some reason Wemby doesn't get you to the NBA Finals out west, you've got to deal with Oklahoma City and all their wings. And you're going to need, a talented guy like Jaylen Brown. And that is something that, as you guys know, Cleveland has sorely lacked over the last few years.
Two things. One, you said that Boston has interest in Evan. Do you have any indication of whether the Cavs have any interest in parting with Evan? And then secondly, how do you see the fit of not only Donovan and Jaylen, but then James Harden as well?
Yeah, I have not heard specifically about the interest the Cavs would have in Evan, so I can't speak necessarily to that. I do think the fit with Donovan is outstanding. Jaylen has experience being the 1A guy. And granted, this past year has probably emboldened him to make him believe that he's more than that. But I also think Donovan, after years of having to be the guy and make shots and have all the defensive pressure slanted towards him, I got to believe he would welcome, having that another guy, an elite guy in his prime, playing alongside him. With Harden, we all know Harden's going to be back one way or the other. He's going to be there in Cleveland next year. It's going to be incumbent on him to continue to adapt to his surroundings. And if the situation in Cleveland, if that means he's got to be more of a playmaker than he ever has been before, that's what he's got to be. And look, I think for Harden at this stage, he's got to be looking to embrace something like that too. Like he doesn't need to be James Harden MVP anymore. He hasn't needed that in a couple of years now. I think that all these pieces, this kind of perimeter combination, I just think they all fit really well, especially when you look at where these guys are at their respective stage of their career. If they were all 22, 23, 24, and you're talking about like the Oklahoma City Thunder circa 2012, then yeah, I would have my concerns about how this team would fit. But all these guys in their late 20s, Jalen, I think, going to turn 30 this year. Harden in his late 30s. They're just at a point where I think the fit would be much more seamless.
Chris Mannix, SI, joining us this morning. Jason Lloyd in for Anthony Lima. What's LeBron going to do? What do you think?
My gut is he's back in L.A. on some kind of deal. But that's just right now, that's a gut feeling. Like the Cleveland stuff still lurks out there. The Miami stuff still kind of lurks out there. But I go back to the lifestyle part of this for LeBron. And that's why he went to Los Angeles, or part of the reason he went to Los Angeles in the first place is that he wanted to be in Los Angeles. And that hasn't changed all that much. He's playing with his son, obviously, but his family is entrenched in the Southern California area. And I think that's going to be a big factor in his decision-making process over the next couple of weeks. And look, we know, even if it was for a brief period of time, that he accepted the role he had with that team as kind of that facilitator, number 3 option alongside Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. If he's still able to embrace that and willing to play that type of role, then the Lakers still make a ton of sense for him. So my gut feeling right now, and look, the Lakers, once they're going to be, there's a lot of moving parts in LA right now. Like we saw Reeves agree to that deal, but he won't sign it for a while because they'll be trying to figure out all these other ways to make things work under the cap. This new ownership group in LA is not going to blink at, paying luxury tax penalties to give LeBron the most money they can give him on a short-term deal. Mark Walter has more money than anybody would know what to do with, and he spent that money in Los Angeles with the Dodgers. He'll do the same thing with this Lakers roster as much as he can. I think LeBron won't get the max, obviously, but he will be satisfied with the dollar figure that the Lakers come to the table with. And I think ultimately my feeling is that he'll want to be in LA.
I agree. In January, I thought there was a real path for Cleveland. I don't know that I necessarily believe that as strongly anymore, but would you agree you cannot do Jaylen Brown and LeBron with this cap?
No, there's no way to make that. Like financially, I don't even know how, it already gives me a headache, Lloyd, trying to think of the machinations to get under the second apron to do whatever you have to do to make this deal happen with Jaylen Brown. It's one or the other. And look, I actually think Jalen's more viable. I think Jalen's a exponentially better fit because Jalen extends your window 3, 4, 5 years. Like Jalen, one thing I've been around Jalen a lot over the years. We've had, as you know, you have plenty of ups and downs with guys over the years. Jalen is the kind of guy, as we've seen, he reads everything, he sees everything, and if you say something about him, he's going to be keenly aware of it. But one thing you can say about Jalen is that he puts the work in every single day. Like he knew coming into this past season that he was going to have to step up in a big way with Tatum out of the lineup. He transformed his body. He tweaked his game, and he became a measurably better player in his late 20s. That rarely happens in the NBA. So, look, this guy puts in the work. He's proven to be durable. He's a proven winner. LeBron's LeBron, and he obviously brings a different level of cachet to Cleveland. But if I had a choice, and I know the cost is probably high with an Evan Mobley, I would take Jaylen Brown 6 days a week and twice on Sunday.
We got a minute and a half, but Jaylen better than anybody else on this call. What would his appetite be, do you think, for coming to Cleveland? I know Donovan would be here. Some people don't care about the city they're in. Some people would look at Cleveland and turn up their nose. How do you think he would feel about being dealt here with 3 years left on his contract?
I think he'd be fine with it. Look, he'd be eventually looking for an extension and to get the maximum amount of money whenever that's eligible, but I think he'd be fine with it. I think he's looking for opportunities to win and mostly places that he's wanted. I mean, look, Jaylen Brown's draft selection was booed on draft night. Like at the Garden, it was booed when fans wanted, to trade the pick for Jimmy Butler, or the insane people wanted Chris Dunn with that pick. And from every year on, he has been in trade rumors. Now, the Celtics have done a good job at, taking care of him. They made him the most highest paid player in the NBA a couple of years ago. But I think as much as anything, Jaylen Brown wants a chance to win, a chance to lead, and a place to be wanted. I think Cleveland, they would check all those boxes for Jaylen Brown.
Chris, thank you very much for the time. All the best. Looking forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Anytime, guys.
Chris Mannix, senior writer, Sports Illustrated. A lot to get into there. I have to keep asking that question because they want to go to the same place at the same time, the Celtics and the Cavs.
Yeah.
So I liked his answer. I want to play it again for everybody about that because it's not just about trying to get better. It's about what are we trying to do that they're trying to get rid of and trying to get over on us. Well, Ken Carman, Jason Lloyd, give me that opinion in 5 on the Fan. Thank you very much.
NBA news and rumors. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I kind of like the fit of Jalen in Cleveland. Jalen's a championship guy who's coming off the best season of his career, who's proven that he can be the guy in big games. I mean, he was like the Finals MVP 2 years ago, and he's only getting better. I also like the dynamic there. I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brown are great friends, so that's, I think, part of the equation with a potential deal like this.
That's Chris Mannix. What are you laughing at?
You're a knucklehead.
It's a long morning. I missed. Okay, what do you want? I didn't say it on the air. We're good.
All right.
We're fine. So I need to ask a question here. And it's a completely innocent question. I'm not trying to zing anybody.
Yeah.
I had to ask Chris the question for you because it's like, well, they're very interested in Evan Mobley. And we got people listening on the free Odyssey app around the country right now. They are in and they're texting and all tweeting and all that other stuff. Because I'm going to get to this here in a second. They're interested in Evan. And we need a big. We need an elite big. That's Chris is saying, calling him an elite big. Chris Mannix is. Jason Lloyd in for alignment today, by the way. All right. If they don't feel they can win another championship with Jaylen Brown, and they trade us Jaylen Brown, we quote unquote, we need Jaylen Brown. Why do we think that we can win a championship with Jaylen Brown if they don't want to, or they don't think they can, when we're trying to go to the same place this year?
Well, number one, Jaylen Brown's already won a championship.
That I said another.
Yeah, I know.
I said another championship.
And number two, the Cavs are wing deficient, and Jaylen fills that need.
Okay, but
and I would make the argument you can even put him over top of Donovan as the number one.
All right,
which is what they need.
That's a great answer. But again, So he's crucial to us, but he's not crucial.
But it's all about fit.
That's where I'm getting at, damn it. That's what I'm trying to ask.
And remember, these are the two teams.
Because the replies I'm getting, I put on social media for a reason. The replies I'm getting are not fun. I don't like the replies.
Well, stop reading your mentions.
I have to. I do it for the show because I want to read one on the air.
These are two teams that got together on a pretty big blockbuster deal when they were both competing for a championship a few years ago. When Kyrie wound up there. So there is precedent. And Kobe was in the same role. But I think you have to look at it more as fit. And again, I've defended Evan since the day they got him.
Well, but what I'm looking at it more, I'm sorry to cut you off. What I'm looking at it more is that I think people just want any big name, and I don't think they're concerned about fit. I'm concerned about fit. If you're giving me a great argument about fit, I'm not fighting. Am I fighting you like I did Shador
no.
at 8:45? No, I'm with you on this because social media reactions on X are brought to you by
Scheib Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
So I put that on social media, and Jim Bob says, this is like saying the Guardians shouldn't trade for a hitter because they won't win the World Series anyway. Can we just try to get better? Is that okay? Well, that doesn't answer the question because this is not the same situation. If you were trading for a hitter from a team that's liquidating an asset, trade for a hitter all you want.
Right.
This is a team that intends to be in the same place you do next May. And playing against each other, you make this trade, you still consider to be playing against each other for the Eastern Conference Championship. And if they don't think they can do it with him, my first question is, why do I? I'm not against making the trade. I'm not. I'm open-minded to this. But I'm not just going to make a trade because I'm tired of winning 50-plus games a year.
I totally agree. I understand where you're coming from, and which is why I've shot down pretty much every trade possibility that's been thrown to me until this one. And I do wonder about the fit with Harden. It's just three guys who play a lot of ISO and don't play a lot of defense. I mean, Jalen's better defensively than the other two. But you're taking a hit defensively, big time. So it's not perfect.
No, it's not. 216-474.
But there's risk on both sides. There's risk on Boston's side as well to move on from a pairing that has won a championship, a pairing that delivered a championship to you.
Okay. All right. Because I just don't like the reasoning that I've been getting here over the last several days.
It's not make a move, just you have to do something. That's not a good reason.
But I think I think they're mad. I think they don't like James Harden very much at all.
Yeah.
I think they're mad about that move, even though I had several fights on the air about how good Darius Garland was. And I know that it was a
move.
And I agree with you. They don't like James Harden. They don't like that. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, they can't do – it just seems to me like the Cavs are a good franchise, and they just can't do anything right all of a sudden to anybody. Well, you got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, you had 2 7-game series to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Then you got swept in the Eastern Conference. Everything I say that I'm like, hey, this is still a good basketball team, guys. It just gets met with nastiness. And I'm going, is our Browns conversations moving into Cavs conversation here? Because this is still a team that went 60 and 50-plus wins in each of the last 2 seasons.
I think part of the Cavs, I said this the other day, I think part of the Cavs conversation is colored by the fact that we are at the 10-year anniversary of the championship. Everybody's been talking about the championship. Everybody's been reliving the highlights. We've all seen the clips on social media of all the guys and all their stories. And people are looking, going, I want that. I want that.
I want it too. But
it's really hard to recreate that when you don't have the best player in the world on your team.
Yeah.
For starters.
And part of the conversation about having that again is bringing that best player in the world back at a much older age, where he's no longer the best player in the world anymore.
Correct.
Now, he's the icon. He's the number one.
And I do think there's a way mathematically to make it work with LeBron and Jalen, but I don't think that that's feasible. Like, that's not – you don't want a team of LeBron, Jalen, Donovan, and James Harden. That sounds really good on paper. I'm not sure that –
I think that sounded really good in 2010.
Yeah, that team is not guarding a dead body. So I just don't think that that's very realistic. What?
How many times have you said that in your life?
A couple.
That's a good line. That's a damn good line. 216-474-0092. Now, I'm fighting it because I have fought for Evan for a long time. You have as well. Mm-hmm. It's been 5 years. I think there's been some people who've been very critical. I think they've been saying I've overrated him. And by the way, guys, I think you're right. I said that I thought that he could be definitely one of the 1% type of guys. He's an exceptional player. He's obviously an elite defender. He's not one of the 1% guys that you think of right off the rip when you think in the NBA. In Cleveland, he's one of the main cogs, and even in the Eastern Conference, he's a big name. But he is not one of those 1% type of guys. And I have been calling him that. But because he's not being that way doesn't mean I just trade him willy-nilly for a name that I know is Jaylen Brown can be a 1% guy. I just don't want to have to be making these moves, or I don't want to advocate to make these moves without having to know what is going to be coming up later on. Because what it does speed up the clock. The clock's sped up as it is, so that doesn't stop me. The thought of Evan's future doesn't stop me. My concern, and I'm glad that you answered it the way you did, is going to be fit. Because I'm hearing, well, if we're going to compete with Victor Wembanyama, we got to be bigger.
Yeah.
All right, well, also Victor's a freak. And I don't know how many freaks are out there. Now, eventually, because of the way that science works, we'll have more freaks. I don't know if they're going to touch Victor, but we'll have more of them. But I don't know when that's going to happen.
And what about when, as Chris said, when the Thunder beat the Spurs, and now it's the Thunder you have to match up with?
Exactly. So I don't want to keep trying to just emulate the champion, because we've seen different teams win championships and with different styles.
Remember when the Cavs traded for Shaq to match up with Dwight Howard?
Exactly.
How'd that work out?
Exactly. Now, Shaq was at the end of the line. We traded really for the ghost of Shaq. We're getting a good player in Jaylen Brown.
But the point is, Orlando wasn't even there.
I know. I understand what you're saying, though. But my thought is, when Manx is telling me you got to get bigger, you got to get bigger, you got to get bigger. All right, we are big. We have 2 bigs. And so we keep moving these pieces around. Like when Kobe Altman first took over the job, it seemed to be a team that was kind of stuck in 80s basketball. The huge front court and throwing the ball to the rim and all the other, or throwing the ball to the block, a lot of the other things. Go with me on this. Hold on.
When Kobe took over.
Yeah, was it not?
LeBron was here when Kobe took over.
When Kobe first... Stop it. You know what I mean.
No, I don't.
When LeBron was gone.
Okay, they were terrible.
And they were building a team that was bigger. Okay. It was 80s basketball.
Okay.
Front court basketball. When things changed, now they're becoming a guard-centric team because they don't have the wings, because the one wing that they possibly developed, they traded away. They had to. They didn't think he was going to become what he is, and he's still not that great. Now you have a team that is still coming full circle. You're going to go guard / you got combo heavy here, okay? But then everybody's telling me I got to get bigger. So now I'm going around in a circle here on how I develop my basketball team, and it's always like we're one spot away from the sweet spot of the championship basketball team in the NBA. Jesus, I didn't think you were going to bite my head off over there, but go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
The one spot that they've the one spot that they haven't addressed, honestly, in 20 years outside of LeBron is the wing. When he left the first time, the small forward spot, when he left the first time, they went with Alonzo G and Jamario Moon.
They don't fall off trees.
And waited for him to come back. And it's the one spot that they never really have done a great job of addressing. Lowry Markkanen for a year was fine. Then they traded him for Donovan. But it's the one weakness, and it is like the most important position still in the NBA. And again, I know the Knicks just won a championship with Brunson. I know the Spurs have Wembanyama, but for the most part, teams are built with long athletic wings who can do multiple things.
And part of the problem,
and the Cavs have not had that guy.
You haven't been in drafts that have made that guy available to you, even when you've had high picks, I think.
Well,
now that part is memory, and I might be wrong. They might have taken the wrong guy over somebody.
They took Evan over what's his face in Toronto. I forgot his name. Which I'm not saying was a wrong move.
Scotty Barnes?
Yeah. That was the same draft. They took Evan over Scotty Barnes.
I take Evan over Scotty Barnes every single day of the week.
But Scotty Barnes was available to them as a athletic wing is what I'm saying, and they took Evan. Again, I'm not saying it was the wrong move, but I'm saying they had one available to them, and they went with Evan.
Because, boy, if you're trying to tell anybody that Scotty Barnes is better than Evan Mobley, I say good luck to you and your mentions and everything else going on after you just bit my head off over there giving me Scotty Barnes.
I have defended Evan
over Evan
I've
Mobley.
defended Evan louder than anybody in this town for years.
Cry me a river. 216-474-0092. All right, I'm going to get to you guys. Are you willing to make this type of move? I know that there's got to be a sweetener in there, making things work, making salaries match and everything like that. Are you willing to do that? And an update on how I'm going to go home this afternoon and hopefully avoid a divorce. Ken Carman, Jason is gone.
Goodbye.
You're not going to be able to.
It's me and Owen with you next on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for Extend Technologies. Not just
That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Whether you're at the ballpark, on the golf course, or doing nothing at all, get the Cleveland sports news at 923thefan.com or use the Odyssey app.
I think I neutralized it. Where the hell's John?
Wait,
Get John's ass down here.
Your relationship, or?
I neutralized the threat that I'm going back into this afternoon.
That's exactly how traps get laid.
Well, yeah, because I'm recording over at 8 today because we have FIFA.
Okay.
We got the World Cup.
Oh, nice.
Which ratings are through the roof. Through the roof.
Well, we'll do that as part of our FIFA rating segment.
Well, I mean, if Lima was here, you know he'd want to do the FIFA ratings. Jason is gone. Daryl will be in
Thank
tomorrow.
God Jason is gone.
For Anthony. Really? Why is that?
Just the hate that he was spewing out there at the end.
Half-ass Lloyd, man. Amazing. So I started the show this morning, and I needed help because we had raccoons that got to the trash. And so
first off, I got to know, though.
What?
Did the yard get cleaned up? I know Liz is mad, and you said you told Axel, you texted Axel, or called him, told him to get up, go take care of it. Do not wake his mother. He immediately woke his mother.
Yeah.
But did at least the job get done?
So he probably, what I'm more mad about is that he woke his brothers up. So I called on the way
now
in.
the day's just begun.
Yeah. So they put out the garbage. I really should have just stepped. The issue is I tried to teach a lesson, and it's backfired horrifically on me. Because I pulled into the driveway yesterday, and the bags of garbage are sitting on next to the trash can because the trash can is full to them. And I go, guys, you got to learn how to pack a trash can. And my problem was that I left those bags out. So I knew pulling in yesterday, we've had raccoons the last 3 weeks. There's going to be another week of raccoons. And I decided in my incredible intelligence and wisdom that I would teach a lesson. Well, I thought, hey, weather's calm. I'll call him up later this morning. It's 4:50 in the morning. There's no reason to call him. I was running late because of that. And so I figured there's no way. Because I tried to clean up a little bit of them. Like, we got a boogie here. We got to go. So it started raining as I was coming up 77. And I went, that's not good because everything heads east. So it's probably going to end up at our house. And then he's going to pick up wet garbage. There's wind. Everything blows west. Or the wind blows east. We're going to have a problem. So I call him up. He answers. I told him not to get his brothers and try to not to wake up his mom. He probably walked in the door because she was cleaning out stuff in the bedroom. There was still a thing of trash bags in there, the big industrial ones. I guarantee he scared the hell out of her when he walked in the door. Guarantee that's number one. The thing I'm mad about is that he woke up his brothers. His brothers are worthless when it comes to this stuff right now. They're still too young.
Yeah.
So he woke up his brothers, then Liz is up, she's up with the dog, and then it turns into, I got to get it done because you guys are all worthless. So she ended up having to pick up the garbage while Axel held on to the dog. And now I've created a total mess.
Well,
now,
there's a bigger opportunity here, though, for lessons learned, right?
What's that?
And this is probably a lesson learned for you, too, as a father, as Axel is really just now. You've made it to buddy stage, right? You guys are buddies now, and like you go do things together.
Yeah.
You know, that it's that part where you're still trying to be the, his father, his mentor,
we're crossing over.
Yeah,
that's true.
You're kind of the supervisor of his life, right? Mm-hmm. But you can also sit down and probably in the recesses of your mind when things are happening, you're talking about football and coverages and things. You're like, this is pretty awesome.
Case in point, earlier this week, you're right about that. There's still these times where I'm like, listen, there's things that need to be done to prepare you. Like, you know, going to see dad and like, hey, you have to understand this is part of life, son. Like that type of thing.
Right. So you get these times where you're like, man, this is so cool. My buddy's here. And that's going to go away soon too, because we've talked about that off air. But I have that with some of my boys, and now I'm back into a spot where we're not really communicado right now because, teenagers and testosterones and things like that.
It's going to suck.
But it'll come back. I know it's going to come back. I know I laid the foundation and we're going to be good there. What you get right now is that opportunity to go, hey, so I know I told you to do this and do it this way. Here's the reason why you have to do it this way. And it's not only because it's your mom and she's a woman and you're a boy and these are different things, but also like you got to keep, you got to teach him how to learn to, mitigate the opportunity for explosion through everything, with the brothers included, right? Where once he's got to know his little brother, his two little brothers look up to him for one thing, right?
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, once you've got them both up, I don't care what their schedule is like normally. The day has started, and the day doesn't normally start at 5 o'clock, does it?
It's my lack of planning, though. I should, because I was on the phone yesterday. I was doing a phone call. I got home, and I noticed that, again, the boxes weren't put the way I wanted them to, and I saw the trash can, and I knew I wasn't mad, and I wasn't going to raise hell, and I knew I should have taught the lesson right there, and I went in the home, and I just went, you know what? I'm going to teach this lesson tomorrow, and I'm an idiot. So there we go. And now I got to, but I've text messages have neutralized the conversation.
Okay. For now.
Also, did get my wife a card, and then I put that on her.
Same card you sent to Don Staley?
No, this is a different card. I gave her a card, and I put it on the computer before I opened up the door. And so it's just like, oh, my God. Well, at least that helped to save the situation. 216-474-0092. You know what? Dick in Dayton. Hello, Dick.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning, Dick. What's going on, buddy?
I just want to say something. You guys cover those teams so well, and I just wanted to tell you, my family's from up there with my dad, and I followed you guys, the
We get your
Browns.
cards, Dick, absolutely, and we're very thankful for it. We appreciate that, buddy.
You guys are just great, the way the way you do things, and Jeff, I miss him on the station, on what is it with Austin Carr, but I've got a lot of books from Terry Pluto, and my cousin, she listens to you guys all the time in Cleveland, but I did want to salute some people up there. Your Brown, the TV and the radio crew over the years is a legend, going back to Gib Chandley, Ned Chandler, Casey Coleman, Fred McLeod, and everybody.
True.
It's great people.
True, Dick.
And I hope to meet you guys sometime up there.
Absolutely. Dick, we love you, and thank you very much for the call, my friend. Dick in Dayton, a legend. An absolute legend.
I'm glad that we got him in today.
Am I going to have that fight with Daryl tomorrow? I know I'm going to have that fight with Lon. Not about Dick in Dayton.
If you don't have that fight with Daryl, I think you've done a disservice to the listeners of this show.
Which fight?
You know what I'm talking about.
Shador?
Yes.
I don't think he feels the same way Jason does. Like, Jason is, and so is Anthony, just either put him in or cut him. And I'm like, no, that's not how you do it. There's a happy medium. It's not a happy medium, but there's a way to go about this, and I think that both are wrong. I think that both live outside of the reality of what goes on in the locker room. That's my issue with it. And then they turn me into the cult leader of the Shadorians, and I'm not the cult leader of the Shadorians. I'm trying to be pragmatic about this and say if he's not able to start the season, I don't think it's all of a sudden this complete mess and that he needs to be cut. Now, I know that there will be fans who want that to happen, and I know there's fans who are for and against him that will want that to happen. That's not my overall goal. And that's not really what I should care about, and I don't care about that. I'll deal with it, but I'm not going to do that or advocate for it because, to me, it's not in the best interest of the Cleveland Browns. And in the best interest of the Cleveland Browns, it's supposed to be in the best interest for everybody. If Deshaun Watson ends up starting, I'll deal with it. I don't have a lot of faith. That'll be fine. But I don't want to just go cutting Shador just because Deshaun Watson were to start the season. That, to me, what you've invested in time, what you've invested still in training to bring him along, that's nonsensical. Plus, he's a quarterback. And what does Andrew Barry always say about quarterbacks? They're what? They're currency. Exactly. Dick and Dayton got me upset about what Jason was saying about Shador. Because of what was on the call screen. He wanted to talk about Shador. But Dick and Dayton's the best. We're back tomorrow. Thanks to Mary Kay. Thanks to Chris Mannix. Excellent stuff from both of them today. We're back tomorrow 6 to 10 for Big Country, for Jason, for John, for Jeff, too many J's. For Jeff Jarrett, wherever he's at, for double J, baby.
Oh, he's wrapping a guitar around someone's head right now.
I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day, my friends.
They sing and they dance. Always take life as a risk or a chance. This is the end.